Hello. We are live on YouTube. Hopefully it sounds good.
Yeah.
No hiccups this time. Cameras are working. We're here with Lorenzo LaCorte.
Yeah. You didn't botch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are the first scooter rider to be on the show. That's exciting. I've had a crazy week. I'm so busy building this half pipe for these people that I didn't really get to prepare for this like I normally prepare for this. I normally have a pretty good outline and questions, and I usually go dig in through people's social medias and kind of do my homework and my due diligence, but sometimes life's just hard.
Yeah.
Put in a lot of time the last couple of weeks. So anyway, you're Lorenzo. You're the first scooter rider to be on BFS Live, so there's a lot of pressure here, So we're gonna talk about scootering a bit, and then we're gonna talk about you a little bit.
Yeah.
But how you doing?
Good, man. Long day of work. I'm drinking a Celsius right now. Usually it's a pre-workout, but I'm usually in bed by now, so I kind of need it. But I feel good. I'm glad to be here, for real.
It's interesting watching all you scooter kids grow up. Just like a lot of you guys, just you being like, I'd normally be in bed. I got work in the morning. It's like, oh God, I just remember you guys as just like little kids, and then you turn into like rambunctious teenagers, and now you're all adults.
Yeah.
Grow up so quick.
No, that's got to be wild, man. I mean, just like the kids that I've seen grow up alone, below my age group is freaking crazy. What a trip. So I can only imagine for you watching a couple of generations grow up.
I've seen so many kids grow up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. When I first got here, this is going to be very scooter centric, but when I first moved here, the little kids, it was Greg Sequeires and Ben Rivers and Tommy Priola, who still comes. Mm-hmm. And the older kids were Dylan and Kyle.
And Nate.
And Ryan Nary.
Yep.
And his brother Christian was one of the younger ones.
Yeah.
And, then they
I remember those brothers.
And some of those people still ride. And then the next generation came around, and it was Harry and Fox, and then
giving me chills.
And it
crazy.
And it was Chase.
Yeah.
River Rat. Who's the other one?
Chase, Tyler. We got Eli, Chessie.
Eli, Chessie. God, I've known all these
He's
kids
really
since
good.
They were children. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, literally drooling babies, and now they're like teenagers.
Wow. Trip down memory lane here.
Yeah.
But anyway, with you being the first scooter rider we've ever had on the show, most of our listeners, I imagine, are probably skateboarders and BMX riders.
Right.
So I kind of wanted to give you, and I'm not saying that you're like the big representative scooter rider, but I feel like you've matured a lot, and you clearly have a passion for scootering that transcends just riding.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe if you could give me the case why scootering deserves to be in the conversation with skateboarding and BMX and the other action sports.
Yeah. No, that's a good one, because scootering has been around for longer than people think. I've heard somebody say that it's been around for 10 years, it's been around for 8 years, but really it's been around since 2001 is the first scooter video date that I have that I got to watching. And I remember getting my Razor Pro, because Razor, they were just making foldable scooters, as we all know. I think they had an A model is what they called it, and eventually they came out with a Razor Pro is what they called it. They caught on that people were doing tricks and filming videos, and so they made a model called the Razor Pro, and that came with a DVD in it. And the one that I got was RVM3. It stood for Razor Music Video 3, and that was in 2002-ish, and that video, it was on DVD, and it changed a lot, and it set the tone for a lot of scooter riders and for a lot of the tricks that you can do, and it kind of set the tone. But since then, it's got really freaking gnarly.
Yeah.
Like the things that I thought were possible, and even like the subgenres of scootering. There's
Well,
subgenres of scootering now, you
well, of
know? Like,
course, but like, I guess my question is more like, it deserves to be right there in the Olympics, does it not? It deserves to be in the X Games. Like, is it as legit? People, because there are plenty of people that don't like scootering,
yeah.
like adamantly are anti-scootering. And,
Yeah.
I mean, but there are skateboarders who are anti-Olymp skateboarding being the Olympics. But
Right. And I'm kind of like leaning that way too about the Olympics. But as far as like does it deserve it? And if you are a scooter rider that wants that like goal of to be in the Olympics, then I believe you should get it. And a good example of that is like how guys can have their minds changed by just watching a guy ride. You know, they could be so anti-scooter and then they watch a guy ride that is doing things differently than like what they see in their head as a scooter rider, and they're just like, whoa, like this is actually really sick. And they start to realize that, you know, it's all like the same goal. It's all the same thing. You want to do tricks and reinvent tricks that and not only just land them, but like make it look good, you know what I mean? And make like an art piece pretty much
yeah,
out of it. You know, it's not just like being the most technical or I mean like whatever floats your boat, but like the point is that like you could see that there's like this core thing about it that like everything has. I mean, even rollerblades like has that. I was never really into that, but
yeah.
like I saw a clip the other day of some guy hitting like a triple kink on rollerblades. I think it was four kinks, and I'm like, man, like that's Hesh. Like I don't care if he's got
Yeah.
boots on or not. That's Hesh, man. He just hit four kinks on a handrail. But yeah, so there's just like that core thing about it that everything else has that is just the same. And if you ask me, it's like just as punk as like when skateboarding first started or like when BMX started to get heavy, you know, like after just racing, you know, and people started like doing tricks and like grinding rails. People were like, what the fuck? Like, why are people doing that? You know what I mean? Like, why would you ever do that? Like, that's not cool. And that's what made it kind of punk and like gave the appeal, you know. People didn't do it because it was cool. People did it because they wanted to fucking do it. You know what I mean? And
That's a
like,
really, really interesting and compelling point that I've never even thought of. Is that, like, being the scooter kid at the skate park that all the other skate park goers don't like is kind of punk rock.
yeah, dude.
That is
Absolutely.
like, I've never thought of that angle, and that's really freaking cool.
Yeah, dude. And eventually it'll all be in the same conversation.
Well, yeah, because I'm old enough to remember when there was a ton of tension between skateboarders and BMXers. Well, actually, it wasn't between them. It was tension from skateboarders to BMXers.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that was late 90s, mid 2000s kind of era.
Yeah.
And sorry, when the scooters came around, yeah, I was like, scooters are gay. You know, I made the jokes too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, didn't we do this already? Like, aren't we being hypocrites if we're bikers and we're out here going, it's kind of messed up that skateboarders don't treat us with respect. It's messed up that the skateboarders don't like us. That the skateboarders were trying to get us kicked out. You know, we're not allowed to DIY. We're not like, and now we're just doing that all over again.
Yeah. No, totally. That's a crazy feeling to have. I mean, because like even when I like before I was scootering, I was riding bikes and I messed around with skateboards, but like I was mainly riding bikes. And I remember when I first saw, because I used to live in New Jersey, and the kids would come from Staten Island over to Jersey City, and there were some scooter kids that came over, and that was the first time I ever saw a kid doing a trick on scooter was those Staten Island kids. And it gave me two different feelings. It gave me the feeling like, what is going on? Why are they doing this? You know, like, is this serious? Do they take it seriously? Like, and then it occurred to me that like it was not only kind of off-putting, but it was also kind of sick. Like,
Yeah.
they were shredding, you know, and I had never seen it before. But I got both of those feelings, you know. I got both the like, oh, like, do they even belong here feeling? And then I got the, just watch them,
Yeah.
and saw how they pumped the ramps, and, they were doing it properly. Those kids, I wish I knew their names. They were like one of the first riders I ever laid my eyes on. They had full modded scooters and BMX style handlebars, the rad crowbars, and they were serious. But yeah, I got both of those feelings out of that experience. Totally. So
In my experience, there's always been what I always called like the unspoken shred bond. So like if you're at a skate
That's
park
funny.
and even if you're at a skate park that are hostile towards bikes or whatever,
yeah,
if you are shredding, like there's something that's undeniable, right? If you're shredding and there'd be a skater there who's like killing it, and then I'd be there on my bike and I was killing it because I was always killing it. Like if I'm there, I'm there to ride, so I was always riding hard as hell,
Right.
and going for it and doing it. And there's just like a unspoken, like you get the nod, he gives you the nod, you get the little clap,
yeah,
the board tail slapping. It's like, okay, like we don't have to say it, but we both know, like, maybe I'm not super cool with bikes, but like you're fucking ripping and I'm ripping, so this is sick,
yeah, totally,
And
yeah,
I think the scooter scene in Rochester is awesome. I think it's the best scene we have right now, and we have so many really, really talented scooter riders here that
crazy.
like it's. If you're a skateboarder in Rochester and you're still holding out saying like scooters are stupid, it's like you have to be willfully looking the other way, because
yeah,
I mean you can't see Fox ride and like you have pretty unique style as well. Like we just
Thanks.
have so many different, and Bard, like we have such a spectrum of riders and styles, and they're all so good and they're nice.
true, man.
Like I've fostered you guys for so long, and I think we have like probably one of the best scooter scenes around. Like, and I forget that. I totally forget that. And then I'll be talking with someone and they're like, scooter kids. And I'm like, they're not bad. And then I'll be out of town on vacation. I'll stop at a skate park and I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Some of the scooter kids are bad.
Yeah.
But that's everyone else's fault.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for like a decade now. Like, if you're like a 30-year-old skateboarder, Thrasher tattoo the whole nine, and you see like a 7-year-old kid at the skate park on a skateboard,
Yeah.
and he's clueless, you're going to be like, yo, bud, come here. You got to wait your turn. Turn your foot. Don't push Mongo. That's terrible. You do this, right? You'll do that, right? But if that 7-year-old kid is on a scooter, you're not going to say anything at all. You're going to be like, you're just going to do that shit, right? And then in some places, and this isn't in Rochester because our skate scene is great too, there are skateboarders that are super hostile towards scooters or bikes, and they will like thrash by you, or they'll cut at you, or they'll almost intentionally hit you with their board to try to send a message. Like, that scooter kid is never going to learn good etiquette. He's never going to like skateboarding. He's like, it's like what are you fostering in doing that? Right? Like,
yeah, no,
it hurts the scene. It doesn't help anyone.
No, it doesn't. And you got a great point there, because like even what I've seen you do and help guide these kids, and even me, and it all helps. It all adds up to how an individual is going to turn out, and how they're going to move around, and how they're going to treat one another, and I've been grateful enough to have like even other scooter riders kind of point me in the direction of like, what to do and what not to do. And, I grew up riding with a lot of skateboarders also, and BMX riders, and they also like kind of showed me what to do and what not to do, and I've done nothing but pay it forward, man. Like, super, super grateful. And I try to pay it forward every day. Like, even if the kid's a complete stranger, and if I see that he needs a tip, I'm going to take the time out of my session, just, point him in the right direction.
Far.
Yeah.
So far. Like,
you know who's really good with that too is Dylan McClymont.
Oh yeah.
He was when I met him and saw him doing the same things, I was like, dude, like, it touched my heart, because like there ain't many people actively doing that.
He pulled you right over and he's like, listen, direct energy weapons, the earth is flat, Jesus is Lord.
Kick in the chest.
Dylan's and Dylan's that way because I was on. You could ask Dylan when I moved here. I went right to him and Kyle and was like, "Yo, you are the old guys. Like, I know you don't feel old because you're all 17 or however old they were. I'm like, like it's on you to get those kids up to speed. Like I was on Dylan's ass about that, and like look at the way he is now.
Dude,
I'm not taking full credit for it, because
No, you should take a lot of credit for sure, because and he's not like shy about letting it be known, that like, you had a foot in that,
You have to if like whoever's the like if you want to use the term alpha, whoever's like the alpha at a skate park or at a scene, because you'll see like one skate park will have a slightly different culture than another skate park, and then there's an overarching kind of like regional culture in whether it be Rochester, in Buffalo. If you travel, you go somewhere, the vibe's a little different, right?
Yeah.
And even each skate park can be different, and it's very much dictated by who are the alphas around. And when you come here, like you're paying to be here, I'm the boss. Like I literally own the place, so like I'm gonna have a huge impact on the culture here.
Yeah.
But the same thing goes for outdoor parks. Whoever's like the older skate head or bike head or scooter, whoever's the person who's there, every other night or every night, people see that and they know. And it doesn't mean you have to be the best, hardest shredder. It just means you're there. And the difference between you going, pick up your shit before you leave, and versus the other side of the spectrum where you're just sitting there and you're drinking a beer and then you leave your can sitting there. Whatever everyone else sees you do, the younger people are, oh, that's what it's like to be a scooterer. I'm going to do the same thing now. And that's the difference between you go to a skate park, it's all nice and clean and everyone's nice, or there's trash everywhere and no one gives a
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Like LES skate park is like a good example, because and I love that park and I love a lot of the locals there, but not a lot of the guys over there set the tone for like how to treat one another and how to take care of the park itself and how to pick up after yourself, I mean, there might be some nice guys there, but as far as that goes, like, I don't want to say all hell broke loose, but kinda, I mean, like that park was once looked like Rock City, it was
I had never been there
clean,
after they
concrete, and
formally redid it. I only rode it at its like old version where it was like this kind of ramp and that.
Yeah, and it was like a junk park.
Yeah, I rode it then.
Yeah, that's sick. I wish
And
I
like
could
we
have
used
rode
to
that
ride
one
Lower
too.
Manhattan, and we would like swing by there for like a half hour to like just let's go by LES or whatever.
Yeah,
we're mostly riding the street then.
Yeah, no, and I was gonna say that even like the guys that do write graffiti over here, took hew to that. We don't want to spray paint all over the parks that we just had built.
That shit breaks my heart. I hate that.
Yeah.
Like when you so is it? I'm sorry. What's the one in Buffalo in the water? LaSalle? Is LaSalle covered in graffiti now?
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever rode that one.
One of the ones around here is, and it's just like, I think it looks bad. Like, it's one thing if it's all really good artwork, and there's like that, the old Venice skate park had that,
Yeah.
But like, the skate parks look so nice when it's just.
There's so many other places to put the graffiti that are outside or surrounding the park, if you ask me, than to just like right on the ramps, like
and
if you're gonna
it's
get
a slippery
up,
slope because one person does one thing and then all of a sudden it goes crazy.
Yeah.
And even if you tried to commission artists to do nice stuff, then everyone sees it as, oh, we can paint here, and then real quickly it just becomes a disaster.
Yeah.
Everyone's writing obscenities and racial slurs and who this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, and like dicks all over the place. And
whoa. Yeah, there's dicks around BFS. You look around, kids bringing a Sharpie and draw a dick here, a dick there.
Yeah. No, but like the culture here in a whole is my point, is just like kind of the right direction of things. I think what we got here is some of us take for granted, man, and I definitely don't. We got some good people around us, and
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I've been super vocal in my support of scootering. Do you think there's any things that scootering brings to the table that are unique from BMX or skateboarding? Like, for example, in BMX, we're like, I feel like we're constantly living in the shadow of skateboarding, right? It's like these brands are trying to copy what skate brands did. Riders are trying to copy skateboarders, right? I'm sure that exists in scootering.
Yeah.
Do you think scootering is kind of stuck in that purgatory of just trying to copy skateboarding or BMX, or like are there aspects of the scooter world, the scooter industry, the scooter culture, where they're like bringing something that's unique to the table that they're not just trying to take from skateboarding or BMX or inline or whatever?
Yeah. No. Sadly, there's like a big part of scootering that's like kind of stuck in that loop of what would sell, and then looking to skateboarding to try and imitate it to gain a bigger audience, And I'd like to think that a lot of like film techniques were adopted from, a lot of BMX videos, and those BMX videos were adopted from a lot of skateboarding videos, and that way, there's still some traces of that. But one thing that I will say that like scootering is like the trick selection is very like niche. So it might imitate a skateboard trick, it might imitate a BMX trick, but if you're like an outsider looking in, you're not going to be able to really tell, and in that way it's unique. And like a lot of even like the scooter parts these days are kind of veering away from trying to be skateboard compatible because like scooter wheels for instance, for the longest used skateboard bearings.
Yeah.
And even currently, like a lot of I want to say 80% of the scooter wheels use skateboard bearings, but
it's probably more than that.
Yeah, no, but in the last 5 years, I want to say maybe 6 years, they are introducing 12 standard bearings, which are 12 millimeter around, and I mean it makes sense. I mean, scooters are not skateboards. They're on two wheels. They're taking more impact on those two wheels, and the bearings should be bigger, and that's their whole theory around it, And
Why not just put 3 bearings in?
They have.
I know.
Oh, you're talking about the Envy wheels. I know, those are the only ones that I've seen do that.
Ethic does the bigger axle.
Yep. Yeah.
Couple.
Yeah.
The problem is the compatibility, and they have all these dumb shims and dropouts, and it's like a puzzle to try to put the rear end of the scooter together.
Yeah. Yeah. Any of those 12 standard setups, if you're not riding the 12 standard, it gets
weird.
It's going to be a little puzzle, but it's called 12 standard for a reason. I believe it's going to be the standard.
Oh, you think that's going to take over?
Yes, absolutely. It's just a matter of time.
That's all really interesting, coming from the era of BMX I was involved in, where like some standards were changing, some were evolving, and eventually, like BMX bikes haven't really changed since like maybe 2010, really.
Since integrated headset cups.
Yeah, basically. and like I argued with Montana Ricky about this on our podcast, because I said this point and he said they've changed so much. And I'm like, how'd they change? And he's like, well, head tube angles changed and rear end length changed. I'm like, yeah, but if you showed a 2025 frame to someone and like a 2010 BMX frame to someone, only a niche BMX guy is going to look at that and go, oh, rear end looks kind of short.
Yeah.
Like we got to, certain technologies that just work, and the ones that don't. So like I got into scootering when it wasn't really it was just starting to be HIC and SCS.
Yeah.
And there were still some funky ones that somehow still make the rounds, like the inverted star nut in the bars that
ICS,
Ethic is doing now or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of one of their completes does that.
Funny enough, ICS that was like one of the first compression systems, and I can't believe it's still around, but it's light, and so that's why they keep it around, but
you had to take the wheel off to get the bolt in the bottom of the fork. I remember those.
Yeah,
I remember
that's
when
wild.
Handlebars weren't standardized size. I mean, it's so funny. When I moved up here 12 years ago, I remember Tony Britt just being like, dude, this stuff's really confusing. Like, it's going to take you a while to figure it out. And I was like, okay. And then it was like 30 minutes later, I was like, okay, I got it figured out. But the compatibility is still a little bit. Because every year, after Christmas,
yeah,
Grandma and 12-year-old Tim come in, or Timmy or whoever it is comes in. We bought all this stuff from the vault, and it's like I look at it and go,
God.
okay, that's standard. That's IHC. Okay, it's not going to work. So you need to buy a clamp, or you need a shim. It's like, oh, And then or like the dad looks at the kid. You told me this was all going to work. I don't think that'll ever go away because it really seems like HIC and SCS are going to be here for the long run.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Those are like the two main ones, and now they have what they call a IHC, which is HIC but for a standard bar.
Yeah, the bigger one.
So it comes with a fork with a smaller diameter, and then there's an HIC shim that goes over it, but it's made for like a standard bar inner diameter. So, like if you were to ride HIC, you would have to ride an oversized down tube, like a 7/8.
Yeah.
Or
so it's just
that's a crossbar measurement.
There's still both sides of HIC, but now you're saying
but it's the
one
same
that's
thing.
double.
Yeah.
Double wide.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense if the fork was just HIC, and then you got both HIC kits for both sizes. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The problem with the HIC compression is just you're sandwiching 4 pieces of metal together. Like it's just inherently going to be self-destructive over time, and it's apparent by when you're freaking smashing your deck trying to get it apart.
Yeah.
Even SCSs get so beat up.
Yeah, they
especially
do.
if you're Austin John.
Yeah, and he does.
You just gotta leave that freaking thing alone, dude.
He does finally ride a SCS too. That seems to me to be the superior compression system. It's like a BMX stem.
Yeah, if you took a BMX stem and went like that.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It makes most sense. I mean, it's heavier for sure, but
yeah. And like nowadays they have SCS that are super light, if that's your preference,
Yeah, it's been really fun watching the scooter industry evolve from both the companies and the products. And because I got into BMX in that that just at the tail end of the first crazy wave, and then kind of rode down, and then started to come back up, and I got to see the afterglow of when the big brands kind of already faded away, and then in like the late 2000s, like ramping up to 2010, all the small rider-owned companies came and took over the industry, right? Yeah. And when I got into scootering, it was like MGP was the one, and
like District.
You had Grit, District. It was like, are you familiar with the BMX brand FBM?
Yeah.
It stands for Fat Bald Men.
Yeah.
Because it was a joke. Like basically all these bike BMX brands are just these fat bald men who run these companies that don't actually ride. Yeah. And when I got into scootering, I actually went to, God, this had to be, I think it was before I even moved here, but I was like already had the job. I went to an MGP like 2012, whatever it was, product launch in like Elizabeth, New Jersey. What? And it was like, it was like me and like 4 other people in this room with these people from MGP, and they had like their bike and their scooter models and the skateboard they sold, and like gave us this like just really cheesy PR pitch about how cool their product was. And I was like,
oh no,
I'm like, why am I here? And the bike was a piece of crap, and they're trying to tell me how good it was because they thought they were talking to like scooter people, I don't know, and not like a guy that ran a
or
bike
kids.
Shop. I've been in the scooter game. There's not a lot of people that have been in the scooter game for as long as I've been in the scooter game.
Yeah, dude. No, yeah. I mean, and as far as like even working on scooters, I mean, like you're better than most scooter riders, man. I can fix anything. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. No, I believe that.
Scooters are really, really simple. It's a very simple device, right? It's less complex than a bike. There's less variety and deviation in the ways things work. It's like pretty straightforward. Yeah. So you could only encounter a few problems, and I've encountered all of them a decade ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, even like sometimes our regular everyday scooter kids that people we've known for years would be like, I can't figure this out, Dave. And I'm like, you didn't put that in there. Like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because it'll be like kids that completely freaking shred too.
Or should know better.
Yeah.
And the classic, the headset cup rubs on the frame.
Yeah.
Classic scooter thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a dust cover that rubs on your deck's head tube.
The one that gets me and scares me is when someone takes off their SCS and you could see that there's not a whole lot of that fork inside that SCS. It's like, dude, like you need to have, like if your fork's too short, like at a certain level of riding, if you're like really good and you're ripping, if your fork isn't like all the way to the top of your SCS, like you're putting yourself at a significant risk. Like
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the bullshit. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
The bullshit of I want this rattly, shitty sounding scooter at the expense of my loose headset, and then when their fork snaps, they're like, "How'd this happen?" It's like I'll tell you exactly why it happened. It's because you're riding your headset loose on purpose, and that little wiggle point is creating that breaking point. Like you're making it. I used to do it to Greg all the time. I would take his scooter and
He was the king of that.
I
man.
would dial his scooter when he would like they'd walk to KFC and he'd come back and be like, "Oh, what the hell? Why is my scooter not making noise?" And,
Yeah.
it's like can I fixed it for you? No, and then he would take it apart and loosen it so it rattled again.
Yeah,
So dumb.
Him and this guy that I knew, Andrew Gibson. If you're watching this, shout out Andrew Gibson. He from New Jersey. Him and Greg were the only ones that I've ever seen put their scooter together loose on purpose, like their headset bolt. Like my back wheel, I'll let rattle a little bit, but these were the only guys that I've seen ride their compression loose.
Somebody, maybe we can do this. Maybe you and I can
Crazy.
do this right now.
Crazy.
We can invent a product that makes a rattling sound inside your scooter, so you get that sound and aesthetic, but not at the cost of diminishing the lifespan of your product.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I don't ride a brake on my setup, and so what I used to do is run the brake hardware in there, and then flip it around so there's one bolt dangling,
There you go.
and that would kind of do the thing, like because with certain rear ends of a scooter, like you can't let your back wheel be loose, like the dropout is the nut or whatever,
yeah.
and so like you have to crank it down or it's gonna fall off.
Yeah.
And that's what had me doing that for a little while. So yeah, I think we should work on that. Make like
Or you
one
can
of
just
those.
dial
You know?
your scooter.
Yeah.
God, that killed. BMX has gone through
That's
those
funny.
phases too, where like there was one era, like when I first got into BMX, it was about dialed bikes, the basketball. You drop it, bung,
Yep. Yeah.
that was it, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually got to like got into shitty bikes and rattly, and BMX is there right now again, where it's like blown out because those free coaster wheels start to get loose and they sound like crap, and broken spokes and loose chains and
Yeah.
clink, clink, clink. The bike looks like crap and sounds like crap. It's just like in.
Yeah.
It's just in.
Yeah, that's how it is for scootering too, man. I don't know if there's a connection there or what, but I do know one thing is when we first started, it was about having your scooter dialed. Absolutely. And it was the same thing. You had a drop test.
Yeah,
There
of
were
course.
kids, having like bike checks, but for their scooters. It's called the scooter check. And after the scooter check, they'd drop their scooters as a drop test and show you how dialed it is. And then after a while, they just stopped showing you how dialed it was and
Well,
just
they
let it
drop
be
they-
rattly.
Now it's like a mariachi band instrument.
Like a shopping cart.
A shopping cart. That's funny. Oh my god, I'm gonna start using that term.
Yeah.
Sounds like a beat up shopping cart.
Literally, man. That's funny. But yeah, no, and that's pretty much stuck from now on. I mean, there's some park riders out there probably that like their scooter dialed though.
Oh yeah, most of the park riders do. It's a different. BMX is the same way. Like, I wish I remember who told me this. Maybe one day I'll find out. But okay, let me preface this. I've been right about a lot in the bike industry and a real lot in the BMX world. A lot. Because I've been doing this for a long time. But one time this guy came to me and he said something, and I was like, "You're crazy." And I was completely wrong about this. But he told me that BMX was going to split. That eventually it would diverge so far that it would almost feel like different sports between street riding, park riding, and trails, dirt jump stuff. That you'd have different brands. You'd have the bike setups and the geometries would get so different. It wouldn't commingle. It would be completely different. And I was like, get the fuck out of here, because BMX was always like, okay, pick your brand. We have a dirt jumper guy. We got the street guy. We got one contest guy. We got one like lifestyle guy. They were always trying to do everything. So the idea of it just like completely splitting makes sense. And that's where it is now. Like these, like there's like BMX park brands I don't even really know, because they're like in Australia and they only do park rat parts, and that's like their niche.
Yeah, like hyper.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, is scootering kind of like that?
It's so crazy to think about how similar of a story it really is. Because, like, if you would have told me like 10 years ago that like we'd have street scootering and park scootering, I don't know how I would have felt about that. I don't know if I would have even believed you, because scootering was all one thing. Like you rode park and you hit handrails. Like you just did it all,
Yeah.
and there was no defining what it was. Like if you watched a scooter video, there was stair sets and skate park footy and mega ramp footy and like heavy stair sets, and it was all just one thing. And like now it's completely split, and it like you said, it makes sense.
Dude,
I mean, it does. It makes
so cool.
sense, but it's just like so crazy to see, to just like have that thought in the back of your head that like that it was just all one thing at one point, and like now it's almost completely two different things. It's crazy.
It makes me feel nostalgic.
crazy.
It's like what's that expression? History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything you're telling me, it's so similar to where BMX was when I was a teenager into my early 20s. It's like identical stories.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just like, man,
Yeah.
it makes me feel a certain way.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize how similar it actually is until this conversation, as far as like the map of how things went, you know? So crazy.
I wonder
man.
if there's a way I could take my knowledge of how scootering is following the BMX trajectory and we can predict where it's going to go and somehow monetize that, you know?
Yeah, let's just hope that it doesn't keep going that way, I mean, sadly, but surely there will be a drop in popularity, and once the core brands are no longer being supported, and corporations come into play and they try to appeal to more people, that's when the drop in popularity will happen, and we'll see like scooter bankruptcy like we saw in BMX.
It's not really breaking news that like the full spectrum of action sports right now is struggling.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's brands closing, or shops closing, or skate parks closing, or just money drying up in general for sponsorships. It's all over the place right now.
Yeah.
Is that already? It has to be happening. I mean, I'm seeing it happening in scootering, but I'm asking you, are you seeing it as well? I mean, you're
Yeah.
more core than I am.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a lot more going on now than there ever was. Like scootering is in a funny way bigger than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple of brands that were like pioneers that are no longer
Phoenix.
here. Yeah, man, Phoenix is a good category, and there's another good example is like, I don't know if you remember Eagle Sport Wheels.
Vaguely.
Yeah, so like Eagle Sport Wheels also like sold to different owners, and now they're called Eagle Supply.
Okay.
And so like little flips like that have been happening, to where it went from like not a completely rider owned but rider run company, and now it's not at all.
There's a bunch of BMX brands that say they're rider owned, and I don't know how loosely you have to define rider to call that a fair statement.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, if you used to ride, I guess you can call yourself. If you ride 3 times a year, can you call yourself rider owned? Like, I was talking to that guy last year who was it Scooter USA, the contest thing? They were trying to get into the Olympics or whatever.
Yeah.
And he worked for Fusion, I think. He was like their brand manager. And he was telling me he tried to buy Phoenix.
Yeah.
And they like wanted like way, way too much money. And he's like, dude, you have no product. It's just like, I want the name, to bring it back. And whoever it was like, wanted some ridiculous amount of money for it.
It's crazy. That's a crazy piece of information. I don't think I knew that part about.
Yeah, he told me
Phoenix.
he was like,
Do you remember the guy's name by chance? I can't.
he's doing that. I don't know if it's Scooters USA, but he's running all
It's like
those.
a contest.
It's like a contest
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
and so he was like tangential to the board for the Olympics. And like the Olympics was like, yeah, if you want any hope of getting scootering in the Olympics, what you need to do is you need to have like a governing body of the sport. You need to have sanctioned events. There needs to be a standardized point system. There needs to be, like everything I just said, right?
Yeah.
So this guy is trying to do that, and he was saying that the guy who's heading like the Olympic skateboard committee was like really hostile toward him, as that no surprise whatsoever, right? So I found out about him because they did a scootering contest at Food Court in Buffalo. And I was like, who is this, like, whatever it was, Scooter USA or Scooter Comps USA, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like, tried to figure out who it was, and the guy's like, oh, we'll do a Zoom call or whatever. And they do these marquee events where they travel around, and they have this core of, he made it sound like it was a lot, but it might just be like 10 scooter kids that just follow this tour of contests to collect points in this made-up system, so then they can have like a winner at the end of it, so they have this product, this thing to show the Olympic committee to maybe even have a hopes of getting into the Olympics.
Wild.
But in order to, so they run their own events, and then they had sanctioned events, and the sanctioned events would be like, basically, I would hold a contest. They would give me a framework where people can sign up for the contest through their website. But in order to do it, you had to have a membership in their organization, which was like some amount of money that was like $100 or something like that. It was a lot of money. And I was like, I can't ask people to pay $100 to be part of your organization just to do one contest with me. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then I talked with Dion, and I was like, well, maybe this is last summer. I was like, well, maybe I will plan. Obviously, I never did this. I was like, maybe I'll plan like a whole like New York or greater like scooter contest tour. I was like, maybe we'll do like one at Lenox, one at Black Mamba, one at Breaking Free, one at Food Court, maybe one at what's the one over in Mass? The green, they have a green logo. Austin John always brings them up. Whatever. I was like, maybe we do that, and then we can have like we can come up with some sort of point series, and then we'll have a finale at Breaking Free at the end of the winter or something like that. Because then at least if you're asking someone to pay $100 to join this organization, they could do all these contests, and we can whatever at the end. Obviously, I ended up not doing that, but that was the dude. And he said he was like the brand manager for Fusion, but the guy who owned Fusion was a complete asshole.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense that like I don't know the guy because like Fusion's not a brand that I followed for
I would
a
imagine.
long time. Yeah,
they're like the
no.
freaking...
Well, I mean, back in the day, they were making like scooters, and it was early enough that like it didn't like there was no park riding or any stigma with Fusion. It was just another scooter that you could ride, and so you were grateful that there was another scooter company, So Fusion's like been around, but like what they turned into was like just I mean like you've seen, it's not something that I get around to and that I have a specific taste for, Well,
that's a tough duality for brands to run. There's brands that try to do that in BMX, and I'm sure in skateboarding too, where it's like, all right, we're gonna make some garbage cheap shop. Oh, what the heck is this? Oh, your camera shut off. Hold on.
Oh, right on.
It says it overheated. Probably. Certainly it's hot. I gotta say that's a first one for us.
He turned off the heater. He said, "Hold on."
Yeah, I moved the camera, and I guess it was right underneath the heater, so the camera overheated. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so there's been brands who try to play both sides. Okay, we're gonna slap our logo on some cheap Chinese crap, put it in Walmart or Target or whatever, but we're also gonna make nice stuff for the bike shops or the skate shops, and it never freaking works. Like maybe it works insofar as the brand continues to exist, but their reputation amongst core riders always is just garbage. Because no one that actually skates wants to be seen on a skateboard if you could buy that same skateboard in Walmart. Yeah. Well, that might simultaneously be amazing for skateboarding to have access. It's not just like you get I guess the Tony Hawk brand would be the example. Like there was Tony Hawk BMX bikes at one point, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's what Fusion did. They tried to have a line of nice scooters, but they're also like $60 plastic wheel crap that you can get at Target, which is great for getting kids in the door, but not great for.
Yeah, and that's like what their market is. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's geared towards kids. It's geared towards the kids' parents' funds. You know, and there's nothing greatly wrong with that. You know, but it is what it is, and
Yeah.
you could definitely tell if it's like, you know, and what's funny about that whole concept is that like the older guys, so like the older guys are what the kids get influenced by in the first place. So if you're gonna like make something for like the already semi-pro or professional riders, you'll get the kids too. Like the kids will come with it. So if you ask me, that's like, if you're about to start a scooter brand and you're listening, that's what you got to do.
Well, that's something I've seen this over and over and over in BMX, where these brands try to make their complete scooters look like have this like weird branding where it all matches, and it's like everyone from a mile away will be able to identify your bike as being X brand, but nobody at the skate park wants to ride that because it looks like you just walked out of the store with it, right?
Yeah.
You want the fit bikes back in 2009. I sold over 100 fit bikes at the bike shop I ran in New Jersey. Like we were hustling because they were like the first brand where their entire line of bikes looked like real bikes.
Yeah.
And the problem is, to do that, the brands have to put their ego aside because you can't put big logos over everything if you want it to look cool and core. So all these fit bikes were very simple colors, little fit sticker.
Yeah, man.
Like, that one little spot there, cool colors, and they just sold so well.
Yeah, man. I
And
remember
that
that.
looks like with the recent kind of rework of the Envy completes, they totally went that direction with them, and they look awesome.
Yeah, they
Like,
look
they're-
10 times better.
They're better scooters at the same price that they were, like objectively better. Like, you look at it and you look at like from a manufacturing perspective, this is a better quality product.
Yeah.
From the cultural perspective, this is closer to what people want,
Yeah.
and it looks good.
Yeah. I could say the same thing for the Aztec. They're Aztec completes. So for the people who don't know, Aztec is a different company, and they also make completes similar to Envy that are like what I would compare to fit bikes, man. That's such a great comparison,
Yeah.
because that was like one of the companies that like I felt the same way about, where I was like, wow, like this looks like somebody built this bike and then put it in here, you know,
Yeah.
like customized it, you know.
Yeah, but they also did that disingenuine thing where I remember when the fountain deck came out. That was a big deal.
Oh,
was that
yeah.
the first 5-wide or one of the first 5-wides?
It was one of them.
And then they made the fountain complete, and it was not the same fountain deck. And they even
No, it wasn't.
like they like screen printed like a design on the side of the flat stock down tube to make it look as if it was like the machine down tube of the actual one.
That's funny that you noticed
And
that.
people
Yeah.
were like, "Oh man, they make a fountain complete." I'm like, "Yeah, it's called a fountain complete." Like, it's like you're not gonna get a complete scooter for $300 when the deck over there on the wall is $250, like $240, whatever it was,
Yep.
$220. Like, the math isn't there. It's not the same product,
Yeah, no, totally. Their architect completes is what I was referencing, and
Yeah, those are sick.
Those are like, if anyone was like, "Hey, man, I need a complete scooter," I'd send them to get one of those, hands down, any
Yeah.
day. And the wheels that comes on those are just great.
Well, scooters and skateboards don't have the same problem bikes have, where it's like the cost of the product is so high that the gap between the gap between a custom built BMX bike and like even like a high end complete is huge.
Yeah.
And the price difference between like a decent entry level BMX bike is like $450 now, and that's still like more than $1,000 cheaper than building one. To where with a skateboard or a scooter, it's really not that big a difference. Like the wheels are going to be the same wheels. The headsets are the same headsets. You could forge a clamp rather than CNC a clamp. Like there are ways to manufacture that cheaper, but the gap is much smaller.
Yeah, no, I could agree with that. I could agree with that completely.
Which is totally the thing that skateboarding and scootering will always have on BMX is the cost of entry is just so much lower.
It just is,
so
man.
so much lower.
It just is. I mean, scooters are expensive, and like, if you pick your parts, like, oh, I just like the way this looks, or like, I want the most expensive shit. I mean, you can walk out with like a crazy bill for a scooter, but if you wanna get the best bang for your buck, you could still part a complete out and get it for like as much as a complete bike, which
Yeah,
is
I mean,
crazy.
I've
'Cause-
built a bunch of completes, and you could spend $700 pretty easy on a scooter, but that's
Yeah.
still like
yeah,
cheap.
yeah.
I mean, if you get into titanium parts, things get really expensive, but
No,
still,
absolutely.
like,
There's bikes out there that are what, like $3,000.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, maybe not BMX bikes, but there's
No, there are. I mean,
Yeah.
if you start getting into titanium parts, which people are doing now, like you could spend three. I mean, depending on what wheels you could spend like $1,000, nearly $1,000 on a wheel set on a bike if you
dude.
want.
I remember, I remember going on Dance Comp. I used to get their little magazines in the mail, and even back then, like the price margins are different, man. Like it just
Yeah.
bikes are more expensive, man. Like it's a bigger it's a bigger set of two wheels, you know. There's a little bit more going on, and it's just always been like that. But you're right, it has kind of shrunken down for completes these days, which is cool.
Well, to loop back to this like economic downturn or cultural regression in action sports, like, are you seeing a lot of? Does it feel like right now less scooter riders are being sponsored? Like, is there less? Like you said, like culturally the sport is still growing, but like money side, like what are you seeing in that world versus pre-COVID? Really, COVID changed everything. Pre-COVID scootering versus post-COVID scootering.
Yeah, yeah. No, like the main thing about this is like kids are getting sponsored, and companies are building teams, but what they're doing with the teams is like completely different than what they were doing with the teams pre-COVID. Because like the dream would be you get on a team, you get your parts, and then they gather the team together and they ship them somewhere, and you film a video.
Yeah.
You fly to across the country, or you fly to another state, or whatever the case may be, and you film a video, and that's happening less and less. Like a lot of the teams nowadays are not really teams because of this, because they're not spending the time together, they're not traveling together, they're not filming these videos together. It's just like individuals filming video parts, and they don't even know each other. A lot of the people on the team don't even like each other, and then like that's a big thing, because like Proto, for example, I love Proto, I always have loved Proto, and like they're a great example of what I'm talking about, because after COVID, I think they just kind of stopped gathering people up and putting them on trips and filming videos. Like the whole Proto team is from different parts of the United States, and they've never met each other, like they don't go on trips and film videos. And that's one thing that's definitely halted since then. Like, but yeah, like, I mean, kids are still getting deals and making a little bit of money. Maybe like they'll like get a code for their shop, and then they can work that commission out, and there's more opportunities, but it's just not the same as it could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the dream, like I said, was to be on a team, and you guys all as a team get on a bus and go on tours, film videos.
How old are you?
That kind of shit doesn't happen anymore. I'm 27.
You're showing your age here.
For sure,
I had
man.
a couple things.
For
here.
sure.
First of all, are there any scooter kids that don't like Proto?
Yeah, now more than ever. It's kind of
Oh, really?
rare. It's kind of rare though.
They
Yeah.
seem like an iconic brand, if not the most iconic brand in scootering. Like that logo, those wheels, like it's like you like if you have Proto wheels, you're cool. Like it's like kids come in like, I want Proto wheels. How much today? Oh, well, those wheels there, sir, are $90. And mom's like, ooh,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But Mom, I have to have them. Okay.
Yeah.
And they don't even screen print it on both sides.
Yeah.
Second piece, I frequently talk about this in this podcast, what I call the decentralization of action sports. And what you're saying about not doing trips and stuff is like it's a symptom of that. That's why I asked you how old you were, because that makes sense. Because you're old enough to remember the old action sports landscape. You're old enough to remember
Yeah.
the magazines, the come up, those websites when there
Yeah,
was
man.
these
Scooter
centralized
resource.
locations where you went to get your BMX scooter or skating information.
Yeah, man.
The social media landscape has had this massive decentralization to where now
Huge.
you no longer need to wait for the DVD, wait for the magazine, go refresh the website. You will just follow the riders that you like
Simply.
on social media. And riders used to have a huge influence locally because every kid around them would be like, oh, here's a local pro. We're going to rep his brands. But now
Yep.
you don't really have to do that because anyone could just hit the follow button.
Totally.
And given the really casual nature of social media with all this, where you have this whole like delineation of formality, whether it's a post, the pinned post, the story, the note, right? Like, you can go all the way down. You feel like you're part of this pro rider's life, right?
Yeah, man.
So now you no longer have these regional strongholds where you go somewhere and everyone in Rochester is riding this brand
Yeah.
because of that brand's local or because that guy lives here. So it's decentralized entirely. And then that flips the sponsorship landscape because rather than brands finding really cool riders and then trying to showcase that rider's ability to people in an attempt to use them to garner people's attention to sell bike parts, they want the rider to garner their own attention, create their own following,
Yep.
and then they hook them up, and that company wants to access your existing followers to sell them products via the promo code they give you or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, why the hell would a brand pay to get people together to go on a trip to make a video when they're now looking for people who are already making their own content and selling the same amount of scooter parts?
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. Yeah. And like that's what I mean about like kids are getting deals and still making their little money, and because now more than ever you have that many more opportunities because of social media. And it's kind of messed up and it's kind of bittersweet, and I love the internet and what it's turned out to be for connecting people, all over the world. But it did kill some dreams, and it killed the old ways of doing things and the cool things that came along with it. But it's definitely just as cool how social media kind of took over. It's cool.
Austin,
it's
John,
cool in its
and
own way.
Reese are in the chat.
Sweet. Hey, guys.
Reese.
Reese and Austin John.
It's interesting because like the decentralization did a lot, and I'm not just saying it is entirely a bad thing. The decentralization
Right,
of action
yeah.
sports if you could have literally one kid who is alone in a town in Iowa or some crap who can garner a following on YouTube or Instagram and make not a career, but they can make a name for themselves in action sports by themselves.
Yeah.
To where when I came up in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, it's like you needed someone who had like a real camera, like a mini DV camera.
Yeah.
And then they had to have a good enough computer that they can capture that footage. It was like a whole freaking process. If you wanted any hope, if you want to be in a magazine, you need a friend who does photo, right?
Yep.
You need a friend who has a car, right? Like you need like this whole crew where like you had it's like this is every crew. one guy had a car, reliable car that either like it was his or his mom let him take it all the time. One person had a video camera and a computer. One person shot photos. One person was like the rich kid who like bought everyone food. You know, it was like there was like that one kid who like he wasn't good at riding, and you gave him some clips in the video, but like he was like low key financially backing you, and like he didn't even know that like
we all just live in the
like, he was
same
just, like,
life.
buying your friendship, you know. And then there's like the one kid in your crew who's just like way better at riding than he knows he is, you know. And then you have like the loose cannon, like that's your whole riding crew, you know.
Dude,
Bard's are loose cannon,
straight up loose cannon.
and that's every crew had like the same dynamic because it needed to be.
Yeah.
Now you don't even need friends. You have this.
Yeah.
You have an iPhone.
All you need
have
is
an
your
iPhone
phone, man.
and a $12 tripod on Amazon, and you don't need friends. You don't need a crew.
There's this one guy that I follow on Instagram. His name is Sam something, and he's from like a different country, but he rides for this company called Vinyl. And it's funny because all the stuff that he posts is just him filming himself on a tripod.
Yeah.
And like he earned a spot on that team doing just that.
Yeah.
And like that's all his content. And it could be dark. It could be blurry. Doesn't matter.
Everything
because
is,
he's consistent.
Everything is important. The full spectrum is important, right? You don't just need like it's not just about the indoor skate park. It's not just about the team. It's not just about it's about everything. If you want to have a strong action sports ecosystem, you need to have all of the elements, right? I'm coming from the bike world, and there's people that are like, oh my god, the big brands don't care about the bike shops. And then I always think about that. I go like, yeah, like think about scootering. Like there isn't even scooter shops. How many scooter shops are there in America? Like 6, right?
Well, there's a lot more ever now than there was. I mean, how many scooter shops are there in the United States? I'd say the number is closer to 50.
You think there's that many?
Maybe more, man.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
If you're saying this is a brick and mortar that is just a scooter shop, no chance it's 50. If you're saying, if you're going to count a skate park that sells scooters at a scooter shop, a bike shop that sells scooters at a scooter shop, a hobby shop that sells scooters at a scooter shop, then yeah, I'll buy it. I'll bite on 50-ish.
I'd say straight scooter shops probably around 25.
Yeah, I would think 20 to 25.
Probably around 25.
But anyway, the point I was making is these people are like, oh, these brands don't care about the bike shops. I'm like, I was in this live Instagram live where Montana Ricky, who was on the show once, took the owners of 2 of the biggest brands in BMX and did an Instagram live, and they brought in random shop owners to ask the owners of these brands point blank questions in a live forum where anyone can watch, which is awesome. And one of the things that these people kept saying is like, you know, you don't care about the shops. You don't do enough for the shops. Like, you know, BMX dies without the shops. And I'm like going, no, I'm sorry. Like, if every BMX shop closed, if every bike shop closed, BMX doesn't go. It's going to be here. Like, it's, and like, you, like they've seen, these bike shop guys live in a bike shop bubble. They think they're really important, and they are really important. But again, if we go back to the example of the one kid in Iowa or Upper Peninsula, Michigan, or wherever it is, who there isn't a bike shop or a scooter shop within 100 miles of his house, you know, like that kid needs mail order. That's his only option.
Yep.
So, and pre the decentralization of BMX, he had little access. And pre the internet, he would have no way of knowing. Like at one point when I was in 7th grade, I did not know BMX existed. I made jumps in my yard. I had a Harrow bike. Like I knew what BMX. I thought I knew what BMX was. And then I saw a magazine sitting on a kid's desk, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? Oh my god, what the hell? Oh my god, this is like a thing, you know?" And like,
yeah, no, totally.
That, you know.
Yeah, no, totally, man.
So. Again, you need the full spectrum of it. Scooter shop is so fucking hard to keep open. Like you basically can't do a scooter shop unless you have a place where your rent is like $200 a month. You have to diversify.
Yeah, if you're in California, you could make it.
Yeah.
And there was a scooter shop called the Scooter Farm. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They closed down recently, and they were a big name You know, they made their own handlebars after a while, and like they were a big name. And for them to close down, like the scooter scene in California is still flourishing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, like that's just a good example of exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you wanna support your local shops as much as you can, but if you don't have one, then
Yeah.
you're gonna shop at the Vault,
Of course.
you know, or
Real quick, Rowan said he thinks there's 10 to 12 scooter shops. Reese said he thinks there's less than 30 scooter-oriented shops in his opinion. That's his guess.
yeah,
I think we're all kind of in the same ballpark.
yeah, that's like the same ballpark. I'm so
I would
I
love
know-
to have a BMX and scooter shop.
yeah,
It's just, again, if you can't find a location with enough space that's like, $500 a month, it's never going to work. Or you have to hustle really hard online, and even that has logistical issues because every scooter company is distroed through themselves, and like the stuff comes in so infrequently, and you're getting hammered on shipping all the time.
And like
it's
and
tough.
yeah, it is, and like especially because, like you said, a lot of these scooter companies want you to buy from them. They want
Yep.
you to buy from protoscooters.com. You know, like
What's funny
I'm
is
sure you don't
many
make
of these
much off of a set of proto wheels, let alone their decks. Like you're gonna be paying just to have those in the shop more than you will profit off of them. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially the proto decks are so expensive, and the margins are not great, and the amount of time it's sitting there, like if you could have had something you sold in that same spot twice over between when that thing sold, you're losing money on that square footage.
Yeah.
What I was to say is I have many times when I talk to the owner of Kink, he owns Blackout Distribution as well. They sell many BMX brands and pads and shoes and stuff. I've told him, listen, dude, there is no big scooter distro. If someone came in that was a quality distribution center that brought in multiple brands, where if I could go to one place and shop 10 different scooter brands, it would be a dream. It would make my life so much easier. Instead, it's just like Tilt emails me, pre-order for the drop. If you don't pre-order, you're not going to get any of the stuff. And then it sells out really quick. And then a lot of times you look at it, I'm like, I'm going to order like 2 clamps, 2 pairs of wheels.
Yeah.
The shipping, like, I pay more. I think on average, I probably pay around 15% in shipping on my orders. Like, I just ordered from NV Scooters. They, Gravity Groups of Distribution, because of the tariffs, they're like, we're raising prices on Friday. So if you order before Friday, you can get these same pricing. Everything's going up 10%. I was like, you know what? I need some scooters anyway. I'm going to order some scooters. So I ordered 8 scooters, which means it's 2 boxes, and 8 scooters was like, what's 8 scooters come out to be? Ended up being like, for me, maybe about like about $800 maybe. And it was like 150 in shipping. And the scooter industry, nobody does free shipping in the bike world. You have freight incentives. Typically, if you spend $500, you get free freight, or you get half freight. If you buy 5 bikes, you get free. Like at a certain point, you get like a freight in the scooter. There's been times
That's how it should be.
I once bought so many scooters from Envy, like
Especially from a corporation like that, man.
yeah,
Like,
they're
come on, man.
big as
Like,
fuck.
Yeah, dude.
I will give credit where credit's due. Envy did once lower their prices, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
No one ever lowers their prices after they've raised them, but they, amidst all the COVID crap, they went up, and then when they put out the new ones, they're like, "Hey, we're going back to the old pricing," and I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah.
The margins are pretty decent on them too.
And that's the one thing that I could say for Envy, and Aztec is rider owned, like legitimately rider owned, and he does all his business and like he gets his scooters manufactured in China, just like almost every scooter company does. But the margins are good, man. Like for selling them, like the margins are just
used to
good.
be good, but used to be better. They're trending more. I mean, they don't have to be 50% like they used to always be, but they're trending
Yeah.
more like what you'd expect in like BMX. Like 40% is good, close to 50% is good. I like it around that when you buy stuff on sale. I could typically get some nice stuff. Like
Yeah.
I recently got some really good deals on some stuff.
Yeah, we could talk a little bit about like distribution companies, but like there's only so many, and they're not one. You know, like
Oh, it's a mess.
there's their system, there's the one that you use for Envy, and then
Yeah, Gravity Group.
Gravity Group. There's Dissidents, but like
What's Dissidents?
Dissidents does like all the native stuff. They do
Oh, Native used to be through North there.
Aztec stuff. They do all the French brands like Ethic and Prime, and
Aztec is through the system as well.
yup, yeah, yeah.
But also through themselves, through, what is it, Brillo or whatever?
Yup, Brillo brands,
They're
yeah,
a joke.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure.
You know that
I'm
guy?
sure.
What do they call him? Like Neckbeard or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Is his name Dan?
He used to work for Grit. He used to sponsor Dylan once upon a time. What was his name? Jake Hershey.
Jake Hirsch.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's that guy.
Yeah,
Isn't he
Neckbeard,
essentially
yeah.
running Aztec out of his garage?
No. There's a guy, Dom Marconi, that runs Aztec. He's like a Elon Musk of scootering kind of guy. Yeah.
Who was the distro? Turnstile? When
Yeah.
Turnstile closed, and then Aztec turned into Brillo. That dude, Jake Hershey, he said, yeah.
Yeah.
That dude did one of the
He might have worked for Aztec for a short amount of time.
he
I'm not
did
sure.
like one of the shittiest things of any distro or company I've ever dealt with before. This is the first year the Aztec 666 came out.
Yeah.
When it was white and red.
Yeah, the Logan Fuller one.
And I pre-ordered it. Harry's mom pre-ordered it for Harry. So
Oh yeah, I remember he had one. Yeah.
yeah, and so I pre-ordered it amongst other
Wow,
stuff, and it
time
was
flies,
it
man.
was supposed to be a Black Friday thing, right?
Yeah.
And then like Black Friday comes, nothing, not there, didn't come in. I'm like, oh okay, well that's weird. I ordered it for that's fine, whatever. It's for Christmas anyway, you know.
Yeah.
We get into December, nothing. Midway through December, nothing. And he's
Aw,
getting emails like,
man.
oh the order's coming. It got held up at the port. You know, okay, whatever. Christmas comes, nothing. And now I'm like emailing the guy. I'm like, listen, dude, like, I took pre-orders from you like 2.5, 3 months ago, and these are Christmas presents for like my customers. And now it's like Christmas, and like at this point, once you're a week out from Christmas, like you're not gonna get it, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, you give me some bullshit. Then, I guess some of the product came in. And I think it might have been, oh my God, who's, he does DJ stuff?
Eli.
Eli.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Eli came into the skate park like right around Christmas, and he had a brand new Aztec deck. And I was like, how did he get that? I'm like waiting on stuff for customers. How can he have that already? And I don't know if I called him or emailed him. And I was like, yo, how is this even possible? Like, I'm waiting on product. I ordered that exact deck, and it wasn't the 666, it was a different one.
Yeah, probably
And
like a
he's
siren. I think it was a siren.
He's like, oh, well, some of the orders came in, so we sent out some of the stuff, but we don't have the other stuff, so we're not going to ship your order till it all comes in. And like, it was like once a year I used to have to send these emails to these people, these scooter companies, to be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you fucked me over. Like, and I don't care if it's not your fault if it got held up in shipping. I don't care what. It doesn't matter. I'm your customer. I pre-ordered this stuff for my customers.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, I don't want to ship half your order while I'm still waiting on the other half of the order because like that means I have to eat some of the shipping. It's like, no, like this is on your ass.
Yeah.
Like, you're making me look like, and luckily, like Harry's mom, like she was upset, but she totally understood it because she knows I'm not like I'm doing my due diligence. Right?
Yeah. I
And
mean, yeah.
I had to be like, listen, this is your mistake. Like you have to eat the shipping. send me the stuff that I have customers that paid for the product to get here, and then send me the rest of my stuff when it gets in.
Yeah, and they treat it like it's like no big deal. Like, oh, you could deal with
And
it.
I never ordered from him again. And like he emailed me once about it, and I was like, no. And I swear to God, it used to be like once a year, every other year, I had to send an email to one of these scooter companies, whether it was System or whatever, and be like, this isn't how it's supposed to work. Like this is on you. You messed up. You need to fix the mistake.
Yeah. Aztec.
Yeah.
No, that's crappy, and a lot of the companies are crappy like that, man. And, you know, the older you get, the more you realize that kind of stuff, and you start to pick and choose who you want to even ride because of these things. And I think they'll learn that over time too, is that like, man, we can't be doing our customers dirty because they're not going to want to ride our stuff, or like the skate park won't get it and the people won't want to ride our stuff, or they'll hear about like the inner workings and how we're messing people over, and they're not going to want our shit, you know. And
well, part of the problem in this scenario is these companies are selling product direct to consumer as well as selling product to me. It's the same product. The price that they pay for that product from China is the same whether they sell it to, you know, it gets shipped to, you know, Jared Egan's front door or it comes to me. So if it comes to me, they make less money than if they sell it direct to consumer, right?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, it's not surprising that they would not really care so much to, you know, do their due diligence when it comes to shops.
Yeah,
which is they're failing because the few scooter shops you have are like your front line of defense. Like I am talking face to face with my customers. Like you want me to be pumped on your brand. I want to feel supported so that when people come in, even if I know the value of the Aztec is lower than the value of the Envy because it's a smaller company with smaller margins, I'll be like, no, like these are cool guys. I like them. You know, I feel like he has my back. Like when the sales rep calls you and says, hey, listen, I know you always order this. We got like a few left. So if you want one, you got to get it. It's like when I feel like that brand knows what I'm selling and knows like what I want and like calls me, like he's both helping himself because he's going to sell stuff, but he's helping me. And when I feel supported, I want to support the brands that support me. And as much as I love scootering and the scootering scene, there's not a single scooter brand that I ever felt like really gave a shit about what I was doing here. Although Tilt was decent for a minute.
Yeah.
They will like call and reach out sometimes.
What were the, like I saw you used to have a lot of Ethic like N-Cube wheels. And then I remember the first Ethic N-Cube wheels that I bought them from here, and they were only 100 millimeters. But how did that go with those dudes? How did you get those parts?
Well, a lot of times, probably a quarter of what I stock is, I think, cool stuff that you real core guys want, and then the other 3/4 is what I can get a good deal on, what I'm getting decent margins on. Because the reality is like, whether it's you or Reese or Rowan or any of these people, like you guys really know what you want. You're core. I was core. I get it. Like I don't want just the thing that you have in the showcase. I want this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm mostly selling wheels or clamps to the kid I sold him an Envy Complete to last year.
Yeah.
And now he needs a new clamp. Now he wants new wheels, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I had a bunch of those wheels you're talking about, it may have been when Envy broke off from Turnstile brands. But Turnstile brands did some like really shady shit where they like, this is actually like the worst thing I've ever seen a company do. They said, hey, everything's on sale. Everything's like 50% off. We're having this crazy sale. And I was like, damn, crazy sale. I want to buy some of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
And Turnstile brands was Grit and
Crisp,
and District and Aztec at that time. They might have done Ethic for a minute, like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, maybe Addict too.
So they dropped everything 50%. So I bought a bunch of product. Then, like 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, just kidding. This is our new pricing. And like,
oh,
I'm like, how is
way.
your new pricing 50% off? That doesn't make any sense. How could you just make it 50% off? And then it was like, bigger sale. I'm like, what is going on? And then they're like, guess what? We're going out of business. I was like, oh, shit.
Wow.
They closed. Weird. That was like weird that they like lied about it and then closed. Then Then, out of nowhere,
Oh my
This-
goodness.
this new scooter company shows up, or scooter distro shows up, and it's called Greennovations or something. And the website shows up. It's a distribution. All the same products, all the same pictures, the exact same interface on the website. It was the exact
Oh my
same
goodness,
website
wow.
with a different font and like a different logo.
Wow.
Exactly the same. And I'm like, what kind of fucking tax evasion scam is this? And then that company was around for like a year or two. And then they, sorry, we're closing.
Yeah.
And then Turnstile Brands came back.
Oh wow.
And I was like, something really shady happened there. I
Yeah.
have no clue what it was. And
I'm gonna look into this.
Phoenix was part of this brand as well.
Oh wow.
And then it was the second time they came back shortly after that the Phoenix, ended that.
I wonder if it had anything to do with like the manufacturing, because I know a lot of changes in manufacturing happened. Because like Phoenix was making all their stuff in the United States for a long time, since the beginning, and then towards the end there they started manufacturing in China. I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
I don't know if they're I was mostly buying the completes from them, not the parts. But
Yeah, so that was probably after they were manufacturing in China already.
yeah, that was.
Yeah. So probably not. That's interesting
think-
though. That's like some
I think
inside
sorry,
skate shop stuff that we
Yeah.
don't hear about. That's pretty cool.
I think
Pretty cool
the-
information.
The guy I was telling you about earlier from the scooter contest company, the dude he works with, who was working for Fusion, was the guy that did all that shady shit with those brands as well.
Maybe.
I wonder if I can get that guy's name if I could.
Yeah, I'm super curious, dude. I mean, I was gonna figure it out when
okay,
we were
so
all said and done.
Green
anyway.
Over Sports was the company when they reopened. Does anyone in the chat know the scooter contest? Is it Scooter Comps USA maybe?
Here, let me check.
No. I'm trying to remember what this guy's name was. We had like a Zoom call and everything. Or Scooter USA. I don't know. I'm just searching my email here.
Is it USA Roller Sports?
That might be it. USA Roller Sport.
That's like they've been trying to standardize competition
Rowan says
scootering.
it's USA Scootering.
Oh, that was the older one. Yeah. Oh wait, no. USA Scootering is USA Roller Sports.
Dude.
But I don't think that's what you're talking about.
Dude, I can't remember this guy's name. We did like a Zoom call. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, God, I have no idea. It was USA Scootering. I don't know.
Yeah.
I search scooter in my email. And I just get like a freaking billion things and e-bike companies and everything else and the other thing. So I don't know.
Right
Well,
on.
let's digress from there.
Yeah.
The
no,
live
that's fine.
chats right now is great. Jared Egan and Rowan and Reese are all in the group in the chat, so that's fucking awesome.
Deacon.
What are you saying? He said they're currently running comps. So yeah, it's like whoever the guy runs at Scooter USA. What if I just Google it?
I'm pretty sure Shelby Grimes has a hand in it. I know Walter Perez has a hand in it. I don't know who's behind the whole movement though.
So it was interesting what he was telling me. He was telling me that there was some organization, I don't know if it's USA Roller Sport or something, who was the like the governing body under the Olympics for skateboarding, but BMX in the Olympics was under the UCI, which is the cycling one. And then obviously the scootering was trying to get a plate at the table.
Yeah.
Apparently the Olympics came and was like, you guys don't all get your own seat at the table. Basically, BMX is getting pulled from the UCI, and scootering is going to be combined with skateboarding. So all three of you are going to be one. We want one point of contact for all the like extreme sports or whatever. And like I said, the skateboarding guy was like not down. He like didn't want to be involved. Obviously, he's like, I don't want to be involved with it.
Yeah.
Oh, you say Shelby? Did you say Shelby?
Yeah, Shelby Grimes.
That's one of the names on this list.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a hand in it. I know Walter Perez. I
think it was
he manages
Matt,
Chile.
Is Matt guy?
Matt.
We got to get to the bottom of this. You know the Turner Frog's gay?
Matt. What'd you say?
Did you know that they're turning frogs gay?
Did you?
Turner Frog's gay! Dude, it's always the worst for the audio listeners when you're not talking and you're trying to like look something up.
Oh yeah, they're like, hold on.
What's going on here? Pull it up, Jamie.
They're like, hold on, what are they doing? Am I buffering?
Yeah, you're fluffing. Whatever. I'll pull away. We'll bring it up another time.
Yeah. I know it's gonna bother you for.
Well, we're
second.
an hour and a half in. Can you believe that already?
Yeah,
Just
no,
talking
that.
about scootering and stuff.
Yeah,
normally
dude,
we
that
go to
flew
like
by.
a halfway point and we talk about some bullshit in culture and politics, and I didn't have a chance to prepare anything.
Yeah.
Do you keep up with the news much?
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, you don't really have a choice. It's the life that you're living in. You know.
See all the people at Cobb's Hill the other weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah. A lot of people.
What'd you notice about those people?
There was like half of the city, some might say, that were there.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't go down there.
I don't think those people live in the city.
Yeah, not some of them. I know my girlfriend went down there to check it out, and then her dad went down there to check it out. And she's great. She's like one of the most kindest souls that I know. You know, and her heart's in the right place. I don't know if a lot of those people down there have the same kind of heart that she does, but you know, I wonder sometimes if it was so divided and like it is now when George Bush was around. You know?
Because you're old enough to remember that.
Well, yeah, a little bit. I remember George W. Bush was like the president or whatever when I was real young, and I wonder if that's how it was then, you know, like it is now. And I used to think it was so silly when I was younger, like why am I watching the news? I wouldn't watch the news and like keep up with the president, you know, but
When were you born?
97.
Okay, so you're like a baby for 9/11.
Yeah.
You were in Jersey for that, though.
Yeah, my dad was in Manhattan.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was pretty young, too. I was
Yeah.
freshman in high school. No, not that young.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I remember I was in like kindergarten or like first grade, and the teachers put the news on the TV while we were in class. They like dragged a big television into the classrooms and put it on TV. So like there was a couple of kids there that like watched some bad stuff happen to like their parents, you know what I mean? Luckily I wasn't, you know, in that boat, but I to this day think that was like a weird thing to do.
I never realized you were that much older than all the other scooter kids.
Yeah.
Is there anyone older than you?
Dylan's older than me. Nate's older than me. Tyler Magro's older than me.
That OG crew right there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm like right in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm more associated with the Fox Harry generation of scooters.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hung out with Greg a lot because he was so ahead of his time and was just like into like the core parts of scootering and like filming and like making videos and like making things look cool, and like he just gets it like he always has. And
I remember him
tended
like
to veer towards him when I moved upstate New
bugging
York.
out about this old Outset video.
Oh my god,
Like,
dude!
This is a long. This is I think
it was
Rasp
huge.
Days. Yeah,
It was huge for him to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Totally, man. Huge. And that video was on Scooter Resource, which was like the media outlet for scootering. And it was like you went to InsideScooters.com or you went to ScooterResource.com, and all the good scooter videos were on these sites, and Yeah, Greg was on, and he was in an outset video on Scooter Resource. And,
That's crazy.
And like it was huge, dude. Like, but it made sense because like Greg just understood more than like a lot of kids cared to understand at that age.
Yeah.
Like he was where I was, and he was like 4 years younger than me, and I was like, bro, like this kid's sick. Like he gets it.
Dude, the Greg Ben was just like, it was so funny. Like the Harry Fox Greg Ben thing, it was like, oh, it's like, oh, here's the next crew.
Yeah.
But they had it even funny, even funny's not the word. They had like an awesome duality between them. The way Ben rode versus the way Greg rode, you know?
Yeah.
And like they were like, and they both like, they acted different, they looked differently, they rode differently, but
Yep.
they were just here every day together. Greg seemed to be more composed and well behaved. Ben was a bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Austin Weber throws a wrench into everything there. He was a bit of a problem for a while, but he was crazy too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, no, Austin Weber was sick. He had a crazy trick bag. He stood out from the dudes. Like when I moved upstate New York, like he definitely stood out. I was like, wow, he's doing like grind finger whips, and it was like the 20 teens, and like I don't know, he stood out. Austin Weber's sick.
They were all really, really
I still
good.
talk to him every once in a while.
They were so good.
yeah.
It's just when they got a little bit older, especially Austin and Ben, they got into this thing where they thought it was like real sick to fight people.
Yeah.
And it was not a good look for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, sadly, I think we've all been there. I know I've been there, and it's just a stupid thing. Like, and I see how stupid it is, you know, but just knowing that, like, we've all been there. Just,
yeah.
You know, it's like, what are you gonna do? They're just kids. But
You seen the clip when Ben does the salad on the top of the resi wall?
yeah,
Fucking epic, dude.
yeah, crazy. Yeah, but
Bard recently did something up there too, right?
yeah,
That's like
he like backlipped it.
it's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, and I think he grinded a little bit too.
Dude, both those things are up there with some of the craziest shit that's been done here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
As far as scootering goes, like
I remember
those two things. I think Tyler's 540 off the bowl was really sick too.
Yeah, I agree. There was another one, Austin Weber. We were just talking about him. He, you know, the railing to the deck, and then there's a vert wall on the railing to the deck, like right there.
Yeah.
So like right by the hip. There's
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So he bar salad on that railing.
Like the side railing, not like the front railing.
Yeah. So like the side railing.
So he jumps the hip and then
comes up the
stalls to
vert wall.
left.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah.
And then like has to like 90 back in.
Yeah.
What? Is there footage of that?
Crazy. I believe so.
That's
I believe so.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like the steepest vert wall to stall that I've ever seen anybody even attempt to do. Crazy. Austin Weber, you're a nut.
Jared Egan said Ben T-Bog airs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Ben's
Not a lot of
T-Bogs
scooter
were
guys
good.
air like that.
Yeah.
But like there was like, I remember there was a period where Bard was going crazy. Just I'm gonna like blast airs, and it was so like you never see a scooter kid just like hitting Copen and going woo just to the freaking moon.
Yeah, you know who blasts quarters real good and doesn't even have to do a trick and it makes it look sick? Eli.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Eli Rivera. He and it doesn't even have to be a big quarter either, and he could just blast it over coping and just front wheel, back
He's
wheel.
smooth with it in general as a person. Like he's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Absolutely.
Vibes.
He doesn't even have to do a trick, man. He just do a 180 on the
Yeah.
quarter and make it look so good. Over coping.
God, Rochester has been just so blessed with amazing scooter rider. Like in the scooter world, like do people like think of Rochester? Is Rochester have a reputation for having like a sick scooter scene?
More now than ever. And I guess I don't tell you enough, but I've definitely had a couple people like say, you know, I want to get to Breaking Free. You know, the place looks sick. Like, there's a lot of good riders over there. And as we hosted the street jams, Rowan Tyler, Eli Rivera, and I, you know, we did a couple street jams called the Rock City Street Jam. It's supposed to be all inclusive, but it ended up just being like scooter jams. And we had some kids come from Pennsylvania, and like kids come from like Massachusetts and like really upstate New York and like really downstate, and kids come from New Jersey, and like that's when I was like, yeah, you know, like Rochester's getting more known than ever, and like there's a couple like scooter collector group chats that we're in, and like they know about the scene. You know, it's pretty interesting how. I mean, it makes sense because like the scooter scene here is just so golden. If you ask
It's so
me,
good.
it's like nowhere else right now, especially like downstate in New Jersey or downstate New York. It's kind of like, I don't want to say died, but died down.
Yeah. Well, an Incline Club closed that took a big hit, but those are all kind
Yeah.
of bratty park rats anyway.
Yeah.
When those
But
dudes
even
came up
like
here once, they sucked.
even like the even like the street dudes from down there, like they used to do a jam in Manhattan called the Scoo York Jam, and for the last 4 years up until last year, they stopped doing it because I don't know, the Scoo York team kind of fell off, and then like Supreme skateboarding kind of came back, and everyone stopped scootering and just wanted to skate because like a lot of scooter riders skate, or like a lot of scooter riders ride BMX, and a lot of them just kind of stopped. I feel like because of that, and I don't know. I feel like upstate boomed because of the downstate decline. Yeah.
The scene here is so good in many ways, and it's not just because the riders are good, and the riders are really good.
Yeah.
The vibes are good. The like,
The hospitality's good too.
that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, like you guys are so inclusive to each other. It's not like there's this crew and that crew and that crew. Like there are crews, but it's like you all do stuff. Like if you guys do a jam, or I do a jam, or he does a jam, like you guys come out, and there's such Rochester, like Dion, and they then come out, and the Fordham down
Yeah,
there in Canandaigua,
absolutely. Yeah.
like it happens. Like you do skates, I'll try to do a skate contest, and like no one fucking comes. Like, I run a skate park. I've been doing this for 12 years. I had my skate park for 8 years in a city where there's somehow 3 skate shops, and I almost like can't get them to collab with me on doing stuff. It's like, and when I do, it feels like I'm like pulling teeth. I'm like have to like I'll do everything. Just like I just want you to like be a part of it. Just show up. And like I'm not gonna mention names, but like I've had these skate shops sponsor an event and then not show up on the day of the event and ended up not contributing anything.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Like-
absurd, man. That's absurd. Yeah,
I'm surprised with all you scooter guys, one of you guys hasn't tried to open a scooter shop here.
Yeah, it's coming. Me and Rowan started a brand called Full Metal, and it's a media and clothing company as of right now,
Okay.
but I plan on opening a scooter shop up.
So it's actually just
In the
no
city.
metal.
What do you mean?
When you
That
say-
went over my head.
when you say full metal, I'm imagining you're making parts like they're made of metal,
Oh, no metal yet.
but it's no metal. If
So,
it's full metal.
so
there's
that's what
actually
it's
no-
called. It's actually called No Metal Yet.
Why is it called full metal? I'll tell you where Breaking Free came from. You tell me where full metal came from.
Yeah, so Full Metal came from a couple things. So, I don't know if you've seen the movie Full Metal Jacket.
I haven't, but I'm familiar with the
Ooh.
cultural references. I don't watch
Ooh,
movies.
Check it out. Check it out for sure. It's just a gnarly movie, and there's some realism in it. And scooters are mostly made of metal, and
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
and we all have different tastes in music, but we all have the same taste for heavy metal and like some heavy music.
Mm.
And the name, when we were going through the names of all the things and all the categories related to the names, we dug Full Metal the most. And I even liked another name. I forgot what it was, and I was like, "Hey guys, what do you think about this instead?" And everyone was like, "Nah, Full Metal. Like, we like it, Full Metal for sure." And we drew designs for it, and it just like worked. And it's kind of like some of those like post-hardcore bands that are out there, and they just like come up with a random name. They're like, "I wrestled a bear once,"
Yeah.
and like that's their name.
I don't think that post-hardcore, but I know the band.
Yeah.
Aren't they from New Brunswick?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they might be a hardcore band, but like they just like have like a random name and it just like stuck. I don't want to say it's a random name. Like there's definitely things that are tied to Full Metal, you know, that like made us bring it up. But yeah, no, like we rolled with it.
Do you ever hear the band "The World Is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die"?
No, but that's like a great example
Yeah.
of those names, man. Yeah.
They're pretty sick. They have one album called...
I'm going to check them out.
They have an album called "Whenever, If Ever," and it's phenomenal. I don't think any of their other albums are like that.
No way.
They're not hard. It's like emo, I guess.
Right on. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, where did Breaking Free come from?
Well, my friend Irk and I were sitting in the parking lot at Sayreville Skate Park, or I think we were just
Sayreville Skate Park.
Just leaving Sayreville Skate Park, and we were lamenting at the fact that everyone had these like rules about what BMX was. Oh, if you're going to film a video, there was these tricks that you had to do. I'm sure in scootering there's certain parallels at certain areas, like, oh, you're not good if you don't do this trick in your section, right?
Yeah.
Gotta, like, and we were just being like, let's just make our own video. Like, we'll just make a video, and we're not gonna. And each person can decide what they want their part to be like. We're not gonna, we're gonna be breaking free from whatever rules BMX has put upon us, and like, I will make my section how I want my section. You will make your section how you want your section. I'll do all the filming and editing, and you just tell me what you're going for, and we'll just make this thing that like, we're not gonna do status tricks. We're not gonna lead into what's in or what's cool. We're just each of us are gonna do our own thing, and that was my first DVD called. It was called Breaking Free. Well, Breaking Free ended up becoming the brand name. The video was called GR2, which is weird. My first video was GR2 because prior to that, my buddy Tom, who is the same kid who I saw the BMX magazine in 7th grade,
wow,
he made our first video, which it was called Gutter Rats. I don't even remember if there was even a brand name behind it. Or no, it was just called Gutter Rats. So
it was like the name of the video.
So my video was GR2, which was essentially Gutter Rats 2. Which I always loved that the Fairport kids were Village Rats, because I was like my crew when I was their age was Gutter Rats.
Yeah.
You know, and that was it. And then I just continued to use the name Breaking Free through all the years, you know, 8 major video projects, 2 full-length DVDs. And when the skate park came to be, I was like, should I pick a new name or should I just pick this name I've already been using? You know, that my first DVD came out in 2008. We started filming in like 2006, late 2006.
Yeah.
So like, we've been doing it a long time.
Man.
Before I even had this camera.
Wild.
This beautiful. This was my DVX 100.
Wow, look at that sticker, that Breaking Free BMX sticker right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty OG, I bet you.
We filmed GR2 on a mix of a VX 2100 that was one of my friends and like literally soccer mom, like mini DB, like soccer mom camera. Like we filmed on whatever we had.
Yeah.
I also had a high 8 TRV 800. I still have it. It's in my other studio. And then eventually I got that HPX 250 that Jaden's dad bought me when I made Jaden's video.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, and one more little thing to add to the Full Metal thing is that the videos that we were making were like completely us like just giving it up, like completely like just being like, hey, we're gonna make this and we're gonna make it full speed, like we're not gonna hold back. And that was another little thing that we all talked about and considered. And no, yeah, Full Metal, man. Full Metal just stuck. It just makes sense. And on
paper, if I can give you any advice, it would be to do some hard copy? Some hard copies, right? Because like,
we've considered it.
So much stuff you guys put out is gonna be presumably lost to the tides of the internet, right? Like, what if Instagram's gone one day, right? Like, I'm from the MySpace era. You're probably old enough to remember MySpace.
Yeah, man,
like
absolutely. My profile page was awesome.
My band, my band in high school, we had our music on Pure Volume, and we had a MySpace page, and both those sites are gone. And the only recordings of the music my band had are gone to the internet, right? The fact that I made these DVDs, right? I have my Breaking Free Rock Bottom DVD, like the full thing, album art printed on the cover. My Rock Bottom DVD has my first DVD hidden as a feature, as an Easter egg on that DVD. There's like 6 hours of content jammed onto this DVD. You go into the menus, if you go into like the chapter section and you go down, if you go down to my name and you scroll left, a hidden button lights up. That's like a B edit.
That's so sick,
and then from that
man.
button, if you hit up, there's a second Easter egg. That's like another hidden edit. And if you go to the bonus section, there's like 4 hidden bonus videos in the bonus section. And like the fact that that's always there, as long as you have a DVD player, or a computer that can read a DVD, which are exceedingly rare now, there it is.
Or PlayStation
right?
2.
PlayStation 2, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've considered it. I've been one of the guys that's pushing for hard copies, especially because that's like what introduced me to the things that I love is DVDs. Like I was telling you about the RVM3 video that came in the box with the scooter that I bought. Like that's just the way to do it, and you'll forever remember that DVD in your hand too. If you're like a kid watching it or buying it, and yeah.
I'd also recommend trying to be somewhat archival, which in the moment seems weird and prudent, but like just some of like B-roll clips, like if you go on trips to just, whether it be in a Google Drive and you just like take some extra candid photos, some videos of you guys just chilling that aren't going to go in the video, because like that shit's priceless. I have a shoebox, like an entire shoebox that is filled with mini DV tapes from all the videos I did.
Damn.
And I don't have the time. Maybe when I'm older, I'll get a camera and like start to watch, because the amount of just me and my friends when we were like literally kids, just like the banter back and forth in between clips, like who knows what the stuff I fast forwarded through as I was capturing those tapes. Like if somehow I one day was like famous, someone could go through and like there's so much footage of me just in this like, each one of those tapes is what, like 90 minutes, 120 minutes, and there's got to be like 100 of them in this box. Who knows what's in there? It's like literally Pandora's box.
Yeah, man, that just kind of gave me chills.
I feel a little sad because as much as this phone is incredible, like you're going to lose some of that. It's going to be gone forever if you don't do your due diligence to be like, okay, I'm going to print out one flyer from this jam. I'm going to put it in this folder in my filing cabinet. So I always have this one thing. I'm going to, whatever it is, just to try to like take a minute and just be a little bit archival in what you're doing. Especially if your whole life, like I'm almost 40, right? If you want to be in these sports this long, if you could just like make sure you're just taking a little time to document the ride, you're going to have so much to look back on.
Yeah.
Because you're always a few crashes and concussions away from forgetting everything.
Yeah, for real. For real. It's funny, but it's not. No, it's true, man. Yeah, no, I always liked to watch the B-sides videos that people would make, where it's just like uncut whole clips and everything in between.
The B-roll's priceless.
Yeah, man.
I think in the Insta edit era, B-roll's gone on the wayside. Like there's some B-roll, but like when I made my DVDs, like there are so many dumb inside jokes from that particular trip that we were just, and then the B-roll ends up in there. And to an outsider, it's just like, mildly entertaining B-roll.
Yeah.
But to you and your 4 friends that were like riding street in Raleigh that one freaking night and remembered that we like, we stole the fireworks from the fucking gas station and then set it off over here. Like it's like that one clip elicits like a whole like, oh my God, that night was crazy.
Yeah.
And that's something that you lose if you don't do long format.
Oh, dude. definitely inspired me to collect some and hold those moments a little
Do the
closer,
thing.
man.
I mean, you're still pretty young. Some of a lot of your buddies are younger. But
Yeah.
like, while you're young, do it. You could do it. Like you can go out and scooter for freaking 14 hours and eat gas station food and sleep on the floor and still kind of grind.
Yeah.
I could probably still do that. But
Yeah,
not as
no,
much as
absolutely.
I did. You know, like just do it. Go to Boston. Go to DC. Go to Toronto. Make it work. Who fucking cares if you don't know someone that lives up there? Just like go park your find the street with free parking. Double check the sign. 'Cause you don't want to get towed away in a different country.
Yeah.
Make sure
no.
you're good. Like I was talking this out. I don't know who I was talking to, whether it was on the podcast or not. Like when I was 17, we left Jersey on spring break, and we did Philly, Baltimore, DC, Richmond, Raleigh, something in South Carolina, and Atlanta.
Damn.
None of us had smartphones.
Yeah.
I didn't have a phone, period. I didn't have a phone till I was like 21. So my buddy had like a Nokia brick phone. We had printed out MapQuest directions. There was no such thing as dropping a pin. We had no maps on our phone.
Yeah.
We were 17. We would park our car on a street in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then go ride around for hours, like just trying to keep tabs on where we went, like looking at the buildings. Okay, our car's over this way. Like, just, like I have an excellent sense of direction because of this. And like the resources you have now to be able to drop pins and like Google and whatever, it makes it even better. So like while you're young, go do it, right?
Yeah.
And you get a real job now. It makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But, man, I mean, you were spoiled insofar as growing up in New York City, like
Yeah.
that just jungle of an urban landscape is just right at your front door every day.
Yeah,
the
man.
kids up here, they don't. If they've never been down, if they haven't been to like Boston, Philly, New York City, they don't have a freaking clue
Yeah, I can't wait
what
to
the
take.
city's like.
Yeah, I can't wait to take the boys down to Manhattan and
It's
Queens.
like two
and-
orders of magnitude more grandiose than you could possibly imagine. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
It's true, man. It's true. It's cool to have you to like vouch for that and just like know better, you know, because I didn't have a phone either until I was like, 17, maybe 16. And then before that, I was just hopping trains, getting from place to place. Like I lived in Jersey City Heights and like Bayonne area. And yeah, you'd just take the light rail, which was like $3 fare, but we'd hop it anyway because we were dumb kids. And you'd get to a PATH train, and you get on the PATH train, and you could go anywhere. Like, you get on the PATH train, you could go all over New York for nothing. I mean, not for real for nothing, but for nothing. Because we were, like, just kids hopping the train. And, like, it was awesome, man. I wish I would have filmed more of that stuff, you know? But we were just living life, man. We didn't really film it. We just lived it. And, like, it wasn't until I got a little bit... I mean, there's a couple edits out there, but it wasn't until I got a little bit older and figured out that I wanted to do film, you know?
Wasn't there a skate park an indoor skate park in Bayonne very briefly?
Yeah, it was called The Bridge.
I remember they had like
I
fake
filmed
brick in there somewhere, I remember.
Yeah,
And there's some graffiti.
yeah. The ledges were like fake brick, and then they had like concrete slab on the fake brick.
Mm.
And then there was a brick wall ride.
Okay.
And then there was graffiti on the wall, and there was a stair set. It was like an indoor like street plaza.
Did you ever go to 50/50 skate park?
I did. Yeah. I know you have a connection to the guy over there or something,
Yeah, I
right?
premiered when I put out my DVD Rock Bottom.
Yeah.
That was obviously all Rochester. I did 3 premieres. One at Rasp, one at Marshall Street Bar on Marshall Street, and one
Wow.
at 50/50.
Yeah.
And it was the same. We like collabed it. There was a bigger, I don't remember which brand it was. Someone like one of the big brands had a DVD come out. So like we premiered my video and then their video.
Was it an animal video by chance?
No, the animal premieres were always crazy.
Yeah, they were. I've been to a
didn't-
couple
My
of them.
video would not deserve to be premiered before an animal DVD. I
man,
went
those
to a
dude-
couple of
those
those.
dudes were-
Those were great. Those
Yeah,
New
they
York
were.
City or Philly premiere. God, Philly was the Philly scene was like the hub in BMX for a minute, and every premiere was down there, and they were crazy. But the all the animal premieres in New York City were like out of control.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a whole nother level of just like
There was a local,
rowdiness.
there was a local from Jersey City that rode for Animal, and his cousin, I was good friends with, and that's how I got in there. His cousin's name was Ephraim. I forget the rider. I'll look it up for you though.
Okay.
But yeah, Ephraim, I remember, and his cousin rode for Animal, and then he knew Edwin De La Rosa, and what was the other guy's name with the 4-piece bars?
Sherbo?
Yeah.
Bob Sherbo.
Yep.
Yeah. Legend.
Crazy.
Those are two
Crazy.
legends. Two
Crazy
legends.
times, man. And because of them, we all rode Animal Grips. Everyone.
Oh, Edwin Grips.
Yeah.
Classics.
Everyone in Jersey City rode Animal Edwins. I had I had the purple ones.
Animal presence in Jersey was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like everyone rode fit, some kink, but Animal. Everyone had an Animal stem.
Yeah, man.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's so true.
I still run
Or like
Animal
a-
tires.
like a
I have
scavenger
ridden
sticker.
the same tires on my bike for longer than most people have been alive that come to the skate park. And for a while, I rode a dirt tire in the front and an Animal in the back. But for the longest time, I mean, I've probably rode a pair of Animal tires for 15 years, and I probably rode Animal tires on my bike for 20. Like
Wild.
it's the same tire. Like the sizes have gone up, but literally just Animal GLH tire.
Yeah.
It's the best tire ever made.
Wild, man. Wild. Absolutely wild. I remember I had some kind of Animal thick tire in the front. I forget which one it was, but
The MTF.
yeah, it was an M something. Yeah, it was yeah.
Big block treads.
Yes.
I have one in the back.
Oh my god, dude!
I
had
like to
a
look at that tire, but it was a lower quality tire than their other tires. And
think
it
I
was
did
only
bust it,
rated
too.
to like 40 or 50 psi, and if you tried to pump it up more, it would kind of expand, and it actually wouldn't fit in the fork I had on my bike.
yeah. I think my buddy Jeffrey Cooper tried to tell me that, and I ended up busting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a like salmon colored Haro frame. It was one of the like newer Haro frames when they started like making freestyle stuff, and then I ended up cracking that head tube, and I got an Eastern Reaper.
And you
And I
break
loved,
that.
I did. I broke
Of
that.
course you did.
Broke,
Everyone broke
I broke
those.
that at the head tube too.
Did you ever see that
It was
clip?
so cool though. I remember getting that frame, and I felt like I had a custom bike, but it was really just the rest of the Haro
Yeah.
bike, and then that Animal tire on the front.
Do you know who Mike Brennan is?
Not off
He
the top
rode
of
for
my head.
Animal, and then they split off, and he started Merit. Merit's a brand down there now.
Oh my god, yeah. I know Merritt
There's
for
a
sure.
clip of Mike Brennan, and I don't remember the video, at the Brooklyn banks, and it had like the bank to like slab wall.
I love that
He
spot
did
came
wall
back.
ride. He was trying to do wall ride whip, and he used to land his tail whips like terribly, and it'd be like 1 foot on the pedal and 1 foot on like the top tube, like horrible, horrible. And there's this clip. He was riding a
People complain about crank arm landing.
yeah. And first of all, this guy's
Straight
huge.
top tube.
He's big fucking guy. He does the wall ride whip, lands with his foot on the top tube of a Grim Reaper frame, and breaks the frame.
Oh
like,
my
the top tube
goodness.
just buckles.
Oh my god, I'm gonna find this clip.
I'm gonna see if we can find it. We can clip it out.
Yeah, dude, that's funny.
So when you lived in Jersey
That's
City,
funny.
there were you were only biking, or were you scootering, or was it kind of right on the transitional period? Like how's that timeline look between biking, scootering, and then moving to Rochester?
Yeah, so I skated for like a little bit of time there in the very beginning. The first thing that I got was like a skateboard, and then I must have been like 10 when I got my first skateboard, and then I learned that I wanted a BMX bike after seeing, very similar to you, seeing a Dance Cop magazine and seeing all these photos of guys doing tricks on bikes, and me and my buddy Jeffrey Cooper, shout out Jeffrey Cooper, he still rides bikes. We got into BMX together, and I rode BMX until I was, let's say, 14-ish. And after I was a couple years in, I saw those Staten Island kids on the scooters. They came to my local park, and that's when I started riding scooters. Was after I saw those guys, I pretty much Googled, freestyle scootering right after that, and I got one, and I was like, man, if I could bar spin on a bike, imagine what I could do on a scooter, and I just like went with it. Man, I can't get over how like crazy good those kids were. Like they came over, they were doing flares and bri flips and blunt stalls and stuff that I'd just never seen before.
What was your first scooter?
My first scooter was a Razor A model.
What was your first like real scooter? If that's not a real one.
It was a Razor Pro.
Razor Pro.
And for the time, it was a real scooter.
Yeah.
For the time, it was a real scooter. So
How wide was that? Like 3.5?
yeah, it was like 375 or something like that. Maybe not even. Maybe it was like 3.5. But the thing with the Razor Pros was they had a extra like piece of metal that they put inside the deck that you couldn't see, but that they said that was there. And then the folding mechanism was chunkier.
Oh, so this is still a folding scooter.
Yeah. Yeah. And it came with full deck grip tape.
So what are the Razors that I have? Those old ones I have.
Ultra Pros.
Those are Ultra Pros. Those
that
came
was
later.
that was the second real scooter that I had. Was
so
an
your
Ultra
first three
Pro.
were all Razors.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, the guys that I was riding with were like already core scooter riders. And if it wasn't a Razor, then you had a TSI. And if it wasn't a TSI, then you had like an Ultra Pro. But no, we were not allowed to ride Mad Gear.
Yeah,
Like if you rode Mad Gear, you were getting kicked out the skate park straight up. And same thing with Envy. Like you didn't ride Envy if you were from Jersey City or Manhattan. Like
this is pre John Reyes.
This is when John Reyes was around. Yeah.
Before he was on Envy.
Yeah. Well, he didn't get on Envy. John Reyes used to be like core scooter rider.
Yeah.
He rode for Scoot York and he rode for Proto.
Okay.
So he didn't get on Envy until he was in his mid-20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, but yeah. So like, if you were down with the Scoot York dudes, you rode a bolted Razor with one-piece bars and like some Proto wheels. That was the elite setup. And then
so by bolted, you mean you took the folding mechanism and threw a bolt through it so it wouldn't break?
Yeah. So you
Wow.
emptied the whole head tube out of the folding mechanism, and you put the size scooter axles that we ride, the M8 bolts.
Mm-hmm.
Put those through. You would put 3 of them in. I could show you. I have a OG setup that I built just for shits and giggles to ride around. But yeah, so you'd clear the head tube out, put the bolts in, and it'd make it solid.
Wow.
And then, after TSI came out, Lucky Scooters came out with a 2-piece deck.
Okay.
Where you could attach your Razor head tube to their deck.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard this.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture of
That's
that too.
crazy.
Yeah, so like if you didn't have a TSI or a bolted Razor, you had a Lucky deck. And Lucky was like a core brand for a while. And them two became, what they are now. But they were once like a street brand. Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Who was
And
that
they
YouTuber they had forever? Tanner Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I know the name. Yep. Yeah, man. Lucky. I'll send you an old Lucky video too of them riding the old parts. It was crazy, and it was compatible with your Razor Pro head tube.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I never heard that. I never knew of that.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Richard Geis. He's about my age. I think a little younger, but he knows what this is, and he'll probably hear this and smile because Lucky decks, man. And it's funny, the shape of the Lucky decks on the bottom were very peculiar. Rich will know what I'm talking about. But
This is like way before.
are you looking it up?
No, that name Richard Geis sounds familiar.
Oh yeah, Big Rich. Big Rich.
Oh, I have an email from someone by that name, but it seems to be completely unrelated. Okay. What would you We're already like 2 hours in, which is crazy.
Wow, we're deep.
We never even got to really talk about you and your life, but we'll have you back on again and talk about the whole Jersey thing.
Right on.
What would you say were like the biggest turning points in scooter technology? You know,
Yeah.
like I remember when 5 Wide came out, and that was just like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
it was like you woke up and it was a new day. Can you believe it? You know,
Yeah.
and 5.5 was kind of the same, and 6 was kind of the same, but like the 5 Wide, I remember that was just like.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
What was your first 5 Wide? And then tell me what your
My first
Yeah.
5 wide was a TSI,
okay.
and I had a 4.5 threshold before that, and it was like pretty much shaped like a box. So like it had 4.5 inches of grind space
Okay.
on the bottom
Okay.
as it was wide on the top, which usually it would taper.
Okay.
And so this was huge because you could 50-50 rails. You could slide 50-50s as an actual grind longer than you could ever do that. And when they made the 5 wides, it was like, I don't know, scooters, every little millimeter matters. And for it to go up that half-inch was pretty freaking sick. I think I had a Paramount, and it was like a thinner extrusion. That was crazy. But one-piece decks was like the game changer.
Yeah. And
you ask
integrated. I'm
me.
sure integrated headsets too. would
Integrated
probably be.
headsets too. Yeah. Because that just eliminated the whole wobble.
Yeah.
And
What about the NV 3-piece wheels?
Yeah,
Do you remember those?
those are crazy.
I still have one in the showcase.
No way.
Yeah. Well, just the rubber part.
Yeah, no, those are crazy, man. I can't believe they actually even produced those.
How much does the shape of the underside of the deck affect how a deck grinds?
A lot. It actually affects it a lot. So like even down to the edges of the deck. So like
How rounded or how harsh? Yeah.
yeah, so like if they're rounded, you're going to get a quicker loose grind. Fast and loose grind. Where if they're sharp, you're going to be more balanced and slow.
No, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now I've seen decks where it's like they're like, well, the NV completes always have the middle cut out. A lot of decks do the middle come out, or it'll be like a little ridge and it recesses and then a ridge. Some are like flat all the way across. Do
Yeah.
you feel that when you're grinding? How does that manifest that difference?
And that's like kind of similar. So any material that's taken away will create less friction.
So it grinds faster.
Yep. So if you have what I call a middle channel, which is where you just have like these two
Almost like rails
like
on
rails.
a skateboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll create a faster grind
I'm
than it
mopping up what
would.
you're spilling.
That'll create a faster grind than just a flat bottom deck. But with a flat bottom deck, you could also feel the rail a little differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you'll be going a little bit slower, but you'll be a little bit more balanced because it's slower,
Yeah.
But and the Aztec decks, or I should say Aztec, they had a rounded bottom, and they actually made a deck that was completely convex on the bottom, and that just amplified.
Like a skateboard? It was like
Yeah, like a skateboard. And that just like amplified that feeling so much more.
to be more like a board slide on a skateboard. Would have very much
And what
feel.
that helped was like if you got into a board slide and you were like a little bit tilted back, you could still hang in there.
But it'd probably be awful for 50-50s.
Well, how they made it was they had dual dropouts.
Flat and then
So like how a dropout is on the back?
yeah.
It's like a peg almost,
Yeah.
but it's like welded or put in there.
Yeah.
They had one in the front too.
Oh, the Aztec.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember this deck.
Yeah. So the curved one was like that. It had the
Interesting.
dual dropouts. So even if the bottom was completely convexed you were still just grinding on the dropouts if you were 50ing.
Oh, okay, yeah. I always figured they did the dropout thing because it was cheaper than welding the front of the board from a manufacturing standpoint.
Yeah.
If
No,
they're-
I love that
'Cause
idea.
if they're just extruding it and chopping it, and both ends are the same, you could just CNC a ton of those dropout pieces and just bolt it in there. Okay, cool. Rather than having a person or a machine try to like weld caps on the front,
Yeah.
it'd probably be cheaper, especially if you amortize it over.
That's
I
probably
have no
why-
clue what when they order these decks, if it's like 1,000, 10,000, 20,000. I have no clue what scale they're manufacturing off, but if
Right.
it saves you, 5 cents per deck, and you scale it over 20,000 decks. It's a significant amount of money.
Yep. Yeah. That's why the first Lucid decks, the Aztec Lucid decks, the dropouts weren't even welded. They were bolted in.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't until over time that they started welding the dropouts, and that's how they all are now. They're all welded dropouts on the Lucid decks.
Yeah, the tilt seems to have the really nice welded dropouts. Those rear ends look really well built and beefy.
Yeah.
Now, who's the
Even-
ones? Is it those new? Is it the new ethics that were like, instead of dropouts, they're almost like big round pegs?
So ethics have a nice back end, similar to the Aztec, like they're like peg shaped, or they're rounded, but they're not like a complete circle. It's like a half circle.
Yeah.
So that's how the ethics are. But yeah, the Aztecs are more like a peg shape. Same thing with the tilt decks. They're more like a peg shape. Oh, proto decks are like really basically just pegs back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
That's
you've
like one
seen
of the more
one. But
fascinating things of the scooter is all the different ways different brands are trying to make those rear ends handle that abuse, because they get freaking mashed.
yeah, they get hammered.
There's only so much it could take, like with how much you guys ride, and it's aluminum,
Yeah, we call them self-closing deck ends.
Yeah, of course. That's gonna happen, And then people are like, I can't even get the freaking wrench inside here. It's like,
Yeah, that's what a bore bit's for,
Yeah,
kids. Get yourself a bore bit,
yeah.
bore it out every once in a while.
What was the one? Was it an Aztec? Where there was like
I love that you just keep saying Aztec.
Aztec?
Aztec is what he
Aztec?
says.
Is it my accent? Aztec? Aztec.
My friend, Eli, Eli, he calls that brand Aztec on purpose.
How do you say it?
Aztec.
Aztec.
Yeah, with a Z. But you say it like ASS
Aztec.
Tech.
Okay, anyway, an Aztec deck. There was a deck that had like 3 like slits in the bottom of it. And I remember, maybe it was Harry. Someone got it, or was it E-Dog? Someone, and immediately they're like, "Bro, no, these little freaking things are hanging up."
Yeah.
Do you remember what deck that was?
Yeah, that's the Europa. I have one at home.
Really?
Yeah, I have one at home. Because the first one that I got, I put a footprint in and bananaed it on like day one. And so I was like, hey man, like I filmed with this for like 12 hours. That's about it. And so he sent me another one, but I never wrote it. But yeah, the Europas, they had nipples on the bottom at first. There were like little humps in the center.
Oh, weird.
I don't know if you remember seeing that.
No.
Super weird. First ever done. Like that was the first time any scooter brand has put humps on the bottom of a deck. And then their V2s all had 3 slits in them, sideways.
Yeah, weird.
Super weird. But yeah, I don't prefer a cutout in the bottom, because if you're riding like a crusty ledge, like we have plenty crusty ledges, you're going to get hung up.
Yeah. Seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah, it is. Completely. I agree.
So who makes the best decks?
I like Ethic decks. Ethic decks are really good. I'm back on an Ethic Lindworm right now.
They've been around forever.
Yeah. So a funny thing about them is the guy, Kevin DeMay, is the designer and creator of Ethic. He also designed and created District.
Okay.
He also designed and created Addict.
Okay, wow.
And back in the day, he made French ID.
Wow. Been around.
Yeah, so he's been around. So he just like knows what you need as far as scooters. He's the one who implemented the 12 standard axle system. And if it's not an Ethic deck, I'd say get a Proto deck if you can afford it.
They seem really heavy though.
Super heavy, especially because
But what if
scooters
I
are
want to
like
do like Ben Leader tricks?
Ethic, man. I'd say Ethic.
I don't need like a Pandemonium.
But you know what I've seen?
No, what's the?
Yeah, Pandemoniums are Ethics.
No, what's that? The crazy light
The Hydra
as
deck.
Hydra. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
don't I need a Hydra deck? Isn't it? Wasn't that like
Those-
too light? Like it
those are
rides weird.
interesting.
It's so light.
I'm sure they do ride weird. They were, instead of made like deck head tube,
Yeah, it's like one
it was like
piece.
two halves welded
Ooh.
together. Crazy.
Ooh. Reese says that Ben Leader could not double whip a proto.
Oh my goodness. Leave Ben Leader alone. I bet you he could double whip
He
a
also
Proto.
says the Hydra is not light, all caps.
Oh my goodness. Well, maybe not. I wouldn't know. But
You
Reese
seem like
but,
a Hydra kind of guy.
Oh. But Reese knows his light scooter parts.
Well, clearly.
No, he does. He does. For sure. For sure.
I mean, you can get away with riding all that light stuff when you're the size of a 9-year-old girl. Just kidding, dude. He made some joke like that the other night when he was here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did. That sounds like something he would say. No, but yeah, if it's not an Ethic deck, as far as like street decks go, I hate to say it, Native makes a good deck. For street stuff. Urban Art does too. What's he saying?
He's just saying LMAO.
Yeah, no, Bradley.
Dude, Bradley breaks everything, dude.
Yeah, but he rides those Urban Art decks.
Yeah.
and he loves them. So I'm sure those are really good, and he'll ride it for like 4 to 5 months before he breaks it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. I'd say 3 months is like the standard of how long a deck lasts, and then it breaks.
Yeah.
So for a guy like Bradley to get 4 or 5 months out of a deck, I'd say they're pretty darn good.
Dude, why does Bard go so hard?
Dude,
Dude
honestly,
goes so hard.
honestly, there's something wrong with that guy. No, but for real, I think his motocross background has a lot to do with
Oh,
it.
he did motocross? I didn't know that. That makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't it? I think so too. I think it has a huge influence on his perception of what's hard or what's huge, because I feel like everything's just a little
going
bit.
that high and that fast.
Yep.
Like it ain't nothing compared to rap, 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 rap.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man. Totally. He's got a pretty crazy trick selection too. Not for nothing. He's not all air. He's pretty techy too.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
Let's wrap her up.
Give me
Made this last the whole show.
your Mount Rushmore of Rochester scooters.
Ooh, man.
And you can interpret that however you want, whether it be just the best riders, the people who did the most for the scene, like whatever. Like who are the 4 faces? Because I'll probably take this clip and Photoshop those faces into a Mount Rushmore.
Damn, that's a tough one. There's so many guys that I want to mention for different reasons.
I mean, Dylan's got to be on there.
We'll do just like known riders, like the most known riders of the scene. So the one to the far right will be Dylan. If you could picture that.
Oh God, that's so funny.
And then Tyler Magro will be
Wait, was that supposed to be a political joke?
yeah.
Okay. All right. I was make sure we're on the same page here. Okay.
And then Tyler Magro will be next to him.
You're gonna put Tyler up there, okay?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Them two and the guy Matt Dibble that they used to ride with. I used to watch their videos when Dylan rode for Grit, and it like put me on to like, hey man, like there's a scene upstate and like you should get over there and get involved. So definitely those two guys. And then Greg Sequeiros, you could put him as a baby.
Baby Greg.
on Mount Rushmore. And
Greg, Tyler, Dylan.
goddamn. I gotta put Rowan on Mount Rushmore.
Rowan.
I gotta put Rowan on Mount Rushmore because he's like the current ambassador for the scene. He takes it as seriously as one should, you know. And damn, that's tough. There's I wish I could just make like 7 Mount Rushmore statues for a lot of dudes for different reasons, but I gotta pick one more. Damn, dude. Eli's come so
I
far.
think you already gave me 4, so this would be 5.
Oh, right on. All right,
That's
right
good.
on. Cool. No, yeah, but Eli. Speaking of Eli, he's always been a street rider. He never once rode park, and it shows.
That's funny.
It shows. He's just like he could ride a quarter, but like
Yeah.
he'll also just pull up to a strange rail and just backlip it
Yeah.
like nothing.
So
So,
who's the
if
best?
I had to switch one, I'd put Eli as a runner-up contender. What were you gonna say?
Who's the most talented rider you've seen come out of Rochester? Like, there's a lot of really, really good riders, but like, who's got the most talent? Who's the
So we were just talking about him, and right now I believe Bradley is the apex predator.
really?
Yeah, man.
Cause he's
Yeah, man. Either and you know,
I mean, I would agree he's probably the best, but like, honestly, because like, I don't know. I mean, it's up to your interpretation.
well, yeah. I mean, I just mean as far as like my taste for
Yeah.
like levels of getting buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bradley is like one of the first ones that come to mind. Shout out Bard, you're a sick fuck.
Bard is crazy. I would see if it was me. I would think.
But Fox is
Yeah.
so
Fox and Dylan are
close,
both
man.
just like. It just looks like it comes so natural to them. Like it looks like it's effortless. Like it's like the talent is just like. I mean, that's what it is. When someone's really talented, it doesn't look like it's hard.
Yeah.
Like Bard goes hard. It looks like he's going hard. Like he's amazing, but he's freaking sending it.
yeah.
Fox is just like,
Dude, Fox
oh my
is
god! It's like he lands with his it's just the balls of his feet, his toes, just like I'm gonna land this crazy trick right now.
Yeah,
Landing
no.
hard.
So clean.
And like
No big deal.
Dylan just makes everything look so casual. He's done it for so long.
Yeah, man.
Dylan can do. I remember Dylan he was more park style. And you were talking that before. Like
Yeah.
scootering was more like you did everything.
Yep.
And I remember, I don't know if it was like the first time Dylan came back from Hawaii or something, but Dylan came in. He's like, I'm gonna get one of these wide decks, and he gets this wide deck, and then he's just like doing all these crazy,
still doing the
he's
same
like
thing on
the
it, yeah.
50-50 to like finger whip on like the wall over in the Ville, and just like, I'm gonna get this deck, I'm gonna get this deck, and then I'm just gonna do all of their tricks, just so you guys know, you street guys know. I could do that too.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. Dylan is he's in his own lane, man. He's what I'd like to call a hybrid rider.
Oh, for sure. He's got it all.
He's got it all, man.
And he always has.
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, he's one hell of a park rider, and he'll ride what I call real park is when you're hitting weird gaps
Oh,
and
yeah.
doing gnarly stuff over these weird gaps. He's not just trick spamming, you know, like he's doing crazy shit with style, and like he's in his own lane. I didn't even think to consider because man, he's in his own lane.
Yeah.
Dylan is the bomb. But Fox almost made my Mount Rushmore also
Fox is,
because I've watched him grow
Yeah.
up from like,
dude.
and he's always had great taste in scooter parts and trick selections and the things that he thought that I was doing or the things that he saw me do that he told me was sick as a little kid. And I'm like, what? You're like young. Did it turn off again?
Yeah, I don't know why. Weird.
But yeah, so like the things that Fox thought were cool as a kid is crazy. It turned off again.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up soon anyway.
The camera is really hot.
We got the heater off.
All right, well, I'm gonna make one last point. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just switch the camera to just me because you're out. Yeah, Fox just makes it look like he just. There's something you'll see in BMX, skateboarding, or scootering where it's like when they land, both wheels land at the same time.
Yeah.
When they like pop into a manual, they get right to the balance point and then they just like stay there. There's
Yeah.
like a precision and a fluidity to it that just like other people don't have.
Yeah.
Like they get into that grind and they're not going like balancing it. They just have it.
Yeah, dude.
Like Fox looks like he catches the board like a skater would, and it's always like on the balls of his feet. And it's always just so
That's the thing. His
natural.
His foot placement, like these were things that he used to like pay attention to as a little kid,
Yeah.
dude. He used to like, and then he would like foot plants, and he would like techie tricks, and like for a little kid to like that stuff is like weird. You know, they want to do all the crazy flips and they want to see all that stuff. So Fox has always been ahead of the game, man. And it shows now that he's a developed rider. It
Yeah,
just
he's like a scooter
shows,
rider.
man.
Scooter rider.
He really is. I agree.
Yeah. Well, shit. Camera's dead. I guess I don't know what's going on there. This has been fun. I love the scooter stuff. I love watching you guys grow up. I love watching the sport evolve. I love watching the brands evolve. I loved watching the technology of the scooter evolve, and it's still happening. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like it's all everything I lived through in BMX. I'm just watching it unfold again, and it's been a joy.
Yeah, man.
And it's been great to have you on here. Sorry, the camera. I can't even see you saying goodbye. But
No, it's all right.
dude, we did 2.5 hours here. This is a long one. I didn't get to plan this one out. I was a little worried where
Yeah.
this would go, but this is great because this is the first time I've really been able to talk about scootering on the podcast. Because I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I
dude.
think scootering has a beautiful amalgam of BMX and skateboarding. I think I was always a grind guy,
Yeah.
and scooters can grind like everything. Because it only needs to be like 3 inches tall and you can grind it.
Yep.
So it opens up the door for all these really weird and unique ways to grind stuff and do these technical combos that are just not in play for a bike. Like when there's
Yeah.
a rail on the ledge and they're like 6 inches apart, and like there's this like, oh my God, scooter street riding.
No, it's
Beautiful.
true,
There's
dude.
some stuff where like the spot usage is like, you could not even use that on
Yeah.
a bike, and like beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Chef's kiss.
Like you have like double peg tricks and you have board slide tricks.
Yes.
And like you could do like a crank arm slide, which is one BMX trick that I loved because it's like a board slide
Yeah, I
on
do
a
those,
bike. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I agree completely.
Well,
And I'm
Thank
biased
you.
because I'm a scooter rider. Yeah.
Thanks for being here. This has been awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
We can get you on again sometime. We'll talk more about like the New Jersey, New York City, and you growing up. 'Cause that was the second half. It was supposed to be. We never got there. Is what it is.
Yeah, man.
This was the best live chat we've had for any BFS live.
No way. Right on.
Jared Egan's in the chat. Reese has been in the chat. Just
Yeah.
like a lot of people in the chat. I don't get it. It doesn't tell me how many concurrent viewers I had, but like a lot of interaction. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Hopefully, as the channel grows, as my podcast grows, the live chat gets better, and hopefully I can, if I keep doing my video a day thing and it works out and I'm successful in that, if I can get to the point where the skate park's got 100,000 followers or some shit, I could really help even drive into your scooter scene, you know? Because if you're
Yeah,
going to do
absolutely.
Street Jam and then I'm sponsoring it and I'm blasting it out to all my people, like we could do, like there's so much more I could do for you guys if I can get there.
Yeah, man. It's like a cycle, you know. We gotta keep scratching each other's backs. That's all. And you guys keep pushing the channel and get back in the chat if you see it, you know, and not even just on the stuff that I'm on, but on the other podcasts that are on this channel are really good stuff on there, guys. Get in those chats too. I know he's got some good stuff coming up.
Cool. And we'll have more scooter people on. And yeah, let me just plug my bullshit and I'll get out of here. This was, God, it's almost 1 a.m. I'm sorry to keep you up this late.
Nah, you're good, man.
I was here till 12:30 last night. I was here till 12 o'clock the night before. Dude, I'm so fucking tired at work. It's so goddamn hard. You know the deal, guys. If you know, share the video, like the video, whatever. Follow the page, BFS Alive, Breaking Free Skate Park. We're on Patreon. You could subscribe to Patreon for $5 a month to support the podcast, to support what we're doing here. There are higher options than that, but even $5 goes a long way, especially as I'm going into my summer months when the skate park stuff gets challenging because the money dries up.
Yeah,
so
man.
I try to do monthly giveaways on the Patreon, whether it be a promo code for a deal or whatever it was, the calendars, the magnets. I always try to do something, right? Try to just do whatever. So you guys help me. I'm trying to help you. Yeah. Share this with your scooter friends. I don't know how much scooter podcast worlds there are, but I think we probably touched on some really nostalgic scooter shit in there.
Yeah, man, totally.
Share that with the peeps. Lorenzo, thank you for being on.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure, Dave.
I'll have you again.
Yeah, right on.
Guys, keep grinding. That's what we say. God, I'm so fucking tired. I want to go to bed.
Right on. Run this up, guys.